of Iran to counter anti-government demonstrators who continue their protests. Activists say more than 540 anti-government demonstrators have been killed so far. President Trump says Iran's government better not make good on a threat to target U.S. interests abroad.
We're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they would believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell contends the central bank's independence is at stake following the Justice Department's threat of a criminal indictment.
This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation.
Subpoenas and the threat of indictment stem from Powell's Senate testimony last summer. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, Dow futures down 324 points. The Nasdaq futures are off 192. More on these stories, townhall.com.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people. But it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. More than 1 million people are now part of healthcare sharing because it just makes so much sense, especially right now. And MediShare is the gold standard. Members like it a lot. We know this from member surveys. MediShare has been around for over 30 years. It is a proven thing. And if you join before January 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save $100 right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is January 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
The International Court of Justice will consider serious allegations lodged against Myanmar's military rulers.
The Gambia alleges that Myanmar breached its obligations under the Genocide Convention during a military crackdown in 2017 against its Rohingya population. It was carried out by Myanmar's armed forces alongside Buddhist militias. A United Nations fact-finding mission the following year concluded that the military campaign involved genocidal acts, citing widespread killings, sexual violence, and the systematic destruction of Rohingya villages. Myanmar has consistently denied allegations of genocide. This is the first genocide case to be heard on its merits by the ICJ in more than a decade.
The BBC's Anna Holligan. A Hong Kong court is hearing arguments about the sentence for pro-democracy media founder Jimmy Lai and his co-defendants in a landmark national security case. Their convictions under a national security law could lead to life in prison. News and analysis, townhall.com. Hamas says it will dissolve its government in Gaza once a Palestinian leadership committee takes over as part of a U.S.-brokered peace plan.
The timeline for the change is unclear. A board of peace led by President Trump is set to oversee the committee, but the board's members remain unannounced. Meanwhile, violence continues in Gaza. Hospitals there claim Israeli gunfire killed 3 Palestinians on Sunday. But Israeli forces maintain their actions are in response to ceasefire violations.
And that's correspondent Andrew Stewart. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is visiting China this week, hoping to mend relations with the world's second-largest economy. It is the first visit by a Canadian leader in 8 years. Carney looks to double non-U.S. exports over the coming decade. This to reduce Canada's reliance on America. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yes, welcome back to it.
A little chilly, 22 degrees out there.
It was a cold weekend.
It was. Yeah, I think our highs, I think we got into the 50s, so they say. I don't know if I felt like it.
Yeah. It was funny, too, because at the peak of the day when, like, it was the warmest, maybe, like, 65,
yeah.
Everybody just came out of their house to, like, feel sun on their backs for a few minutes.
Quick, get out there, quick.
Get out there while the getting is good.
Strip down.
I knew my neighborhood was I could throw a block party or something. I was sitting there trying to watch TV, and all I heard was... So we outside riding dirt bikes.
Well, it's good dirt biking weather.
Yeah, it was pretty doggone good.
Yeah, good for that, and good for breakfast. We all staggered in at various times. We had our I got to do the Saturday breakfast. Last couple months I haven't been able to do it because the schedule didn't work out. But I got to enjoy a little breakfast.
It's always nice. Thank you to the Salvation Army for putting that on.
Charles Beans, those were a 10.
Mm-hmm.
That was each week they kind of have, or each month they have a different whatever they feel like. Sometimes it could be pozole or
caldo.
Yeah, Charles Beans this week. They were tasty.
My friend asked. She looked over. She goes, "Are those beanie weenies?" Like, well, kinda. I mean, they're beanie weenies, knocked up a notch.
Yeah, they were, but it was good. I had a great breakfast, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt very lazy after that meal. I was like, I just need to sit a minute.
I mentioned that they need to use the slogan, "Come hungry, leave logie."
Yeah,
because you are gonna hurt.
Well, it's like, do you want this? Yes. Do you want yes? Yes. I gotta say no to some of these.
I made a mistake. It's the same thing with when you go to a buffet. You don't get fill up on the bread.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of getting biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
It's like,
I did too.
How about some cement first thing in the morning?
And I get all through that, and then the omelet shows up, and you're like, all right.
So okay, my one seed breakfast, if Benedict isn't available, is just basically eggs over easy, little salt, little pepper on toast.
Yeah,
it's like my favorite thing in the world. Extra runny yolks, you pop those on the toast.
Yeah.
I got so excited putting my egg order in, I forgot to put my name on the sheet. So the guy comes out, he's like, "Got some extra runny eggs?" I'm like, "Over here."
Extra runny, that's me.
That's me. Because I put on there, I didn't put my name, but I put as runny as possible.
If it's still got feathers, that's high.
That's fine. That little weird snot on top, I'm good with that.
Yep.
But overall, great breakfast.
Yeah, of course, busy football playoff weekend, which, to be honest, I paid zero attention to. And partly because my team stunk and are not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the other thing was we're in my Super Bowl offseason where they're trying to, and they hired an offensive coordinator late, like Friday, Saturday, over the weekend. And it was an interesting choice. They hired from within.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, the guy that everyone's going, they thought they were going to go after. No, he's interviewing for head coaching jobs. But, yeah, Washington hired David Blau as their new offensive coordinator. David Blau, 3 years ago, was a backup quarterback in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
Like, I think
And now he's head coach?
No,
or
offensive coordinator. One
wow.
shot away from head coach.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I'll even give you more than that. At the beginning of the season, last year, or the season we're finishing now, he was the assistant quarterbacks coach. And then in November, our quarterbacks coach got hired to be the head coach, I believe, at Stanford or one of the big California colleges. And so David Blau got promoted to quarterbacks coach. Well, the consensus is he's a bright mind, and they think he's the next big thing.
Right.
And so Detroit was interested in hiring him. A couple other people, I think I heard, were. So Washington locked him down, made him a. So thing is, it's a boom or bust pick. Like if this guy is the next thing, like everyone says, then Dan Quinn's going to look like Vince Lombardi. If this guy ain't all that, Dan Quinn will be looking for a new job next year. They're going to clean house in Washington.
It's put up or shut up season.
It is. I'm intrigued. I'm hoping they got it right because it's. I have grown up in the last 10 years of Washington fandom with the Mike Shanahan stuff, and when Shanahan was coach of the Redskins back then. If you look at his assistant staff, even going into Denver, all those guys are like head coaches now. Winning Super Bowl, his son Kyle's 49ers. Yeah. Your boy LaFleur at Green Bay, he's under that tree. McDaniels is. There's a bunch of them under there, and so I've been seeing these guys that were, basically David Blau on our team, and I'm like, well, maybe this guy's going to be that next one. So we'll see.
The Great White Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike McDaniels was kind of in the news over the weekend.
Yeah, he's interviewing for head coaching gigs. He got fired by the Dolphins Friday, I think. And I think today he's interviewing with, I think, Cleveland or something. So
the only reason that's even slightly relevant in my world is his best friend is comedian Dan Soder. And Soder always talks about how he gets, hookups for games and field passes and stuff.
And there was a lot of talk where McDaniels was going to come to Washington to be offensive coordinator because our Dan Quinn, our coach, when he was head coach of Atlanta, McDaniels, again, and the Shanahan trio, they were all there with him. And Mike McDaniels is a recovering alcoholic. And when he was on that staff in Atlanta, that's when he kind of hit his bottom and went to and Dan Quinn was helped him all through that. And
gotcha.
So they're pretty tight. So even outside of football, matter of fact, they played each other in Europe this week, this couple months ago.
Yep.
And they kind of talked about how he changed my life. He's this and that. And da, da, da. But anyway, so it was kind of surprising that.
Yeah.
But hey, the guy's probably going to get a head coaching gig. So
it's shakeup season. But congratulations to the 49ers and Bears fans. Go to hell.
Yeah, Eagles fans, sorry. I feel no sorry for you at all.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to feel sympathy for Eagles fans.
I hate Eagles. I hate everything about Philadelphia. So
when you're
enjoy watching the game.
When your city has to grease the polls downtown, regardless of whether your team's going to win or lose, that's usually the sign that your fan base sucks.
Absolutely. So, I guess I'm going to root for the 49ers here on out. I guess.
It's
maybe the Broncos.
It's that weird time of the football season where my team's tanked it, so now I'm like, well, I guess I'll be a fan of another team for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, because I think Broncos and who is the other team that plays?
I cannot remember, honestly.
I don't know. I have a brain cramp.
Bears.
But anyway, is it? I thought. Yeah, the Bears play tonight.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Look at a Bears.
It's not, because it'd have to be NFC.
Let me look it up. Because I know
remember.
The Bears took out the Packers.
Yeah, they played
Saturday.
Yeah, I can't remember the other team left other than Denver. Let's
find out.
It's an AFC team, obviously. I'm just completely brain cramping. Oh well. Let me give you the rundown while he's figuring out what everybody.
Well,
on the planet
today we got
knows.
the Texans and the Steelers.
That's it.
Yeah,
Texans. Okay, so
Bills, Broncos, 49ers, Seahawks, and
so the Broncos
Steelers,
won this week. I told you I paid no attention to any of this stuff.
And
I
the Bears and the Rams.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to root for the Bears.
Pat's still in it too.
Because Ben Johnson's kind of a weirdo, their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm going to stick with 49ers or Broncos. Let me give you the rundown.
Yes.
We got to get her going. Matt Bristol Law. He joins us for each month to talk just good advice when it comes to things, legal, business, things like that. So Matt will join us here for his monthly visit. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, Micah Spiritu is going to join us from the Roswell Chaves County Economic Development Court, EDC. And they've got some stuff coming up, some events this week. Of course, Blue Angels, I'm about to be slapped. The Thunderbirds are going to be here today, or at least a Thunderbird is going to be here today. They're actually going to be doing a flyover and everything. He's lucky. I got to go do something else, but he gets to go out there and hang out with the Thunderbird, because I think it's just one of the Thunderbirds. It's not all of them. It's one in the pilot and all that. But anyway, but Mike's going to join us to give us some updates on some things going on there, and I believe some of that stuff at the Air Center is part of that. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, John LeMay, author and Historical Society member, going to join us, talk about his latest book. I think he's going into fiction now. Like he writes like stuff about, New Mexico history, and I think he dabbled into some historic fiction this time. So I think he's got a Billy the Kid story that, like many of the Billy the Kid stories, is more legend than actuality. But anyway, so we'll chat with John here about 9:15 or so. Plus, we'll have all the news, sports, and all that good stuff. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather. Then we'll take also get you into your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. And then on the other side of the break, Matt Bristol will join us. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong high-pressure system covering all of the southwestern states. We're hitting the mid-50s on the afternoon high today. Lots of sunshine. Pretty cold overnight. We'll drop into the low 20s with a few clouds, and then we warm up a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're expecting sunshine both days. Highs in the low 60s. We're in the upper 60s and sunny on Thursday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Hey, Roswell, New Year's resolutions are tough. Eat better, exercise more, remember where you parked. So how about one you'll actually keep? Drive something you'll love from Roswell Ford. Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford fast, fun, and easy. Right now, during the loan and lease termination event at Roswell Ford, we'll do whatever it takes to get you released from your loan or lease, even if you owe thousands more than your car, truck, or SUV is worth, so you can get massive savings on a great selection of new Fords and quality pre-owned vehicles. Buy now with zero down and make no payments until Easter. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Roswell Ford has partnered with more aggressive lenders that will push to approve your credit with great rates and terms, even if your credit is less than perfect. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. All roads lead to huge American-made savings. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com.
Interest accrues from date of sale, subject to lender approval. Offers not combined on select vehicles.
Get a built-in look with a Whirlpool flush mount dishwasher that installs flush with the surrounding cabinets at Bush Appliance in Roswell. A third rack provides space for silverware and hard-to-fit utensils. Plus, this dishwasher meets ADA standards for acceptable design. Shop Whirlpool dishwashers today at Bush Appliance in Roswell. Who you gonna call? Bush Appliance. Stop by 111 West Country Club Road in Roswell or call 575-622-6390.
Wakefield Oil Company is a name you can rely on with full service at the pump the way it used to be. You can expect service in just 15 seconds. They offer bulk fuel and oil services and even diesel exhaust fluid. Wakefield Oil Company will deliver to farms, ranches, dairies, the oil fields, and more with dependable service you can count on. So the next time you need service or delivery, go with the name that locals have trusted since 1983. Wakefield Oil Company, 311 South Virginia in Roswell. Let them earn your business.
Good morning. This is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A big January run this week with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native weaned calves, light yearlings. We expect to sell 2,200 head. Breaking down like this, 100, 125 cows and bulls, 50, 75 pairs of bred cows, 2,020, 50 calves and yearlings today sold. Include 25 bred cows, excellent quality black white face, red white face English crossbreds. Bred to Angus bulls, cows 5 to 10 years old. 49 calves, Mr. Jason Danley, Luz, New Mexico. Ex-quality black white face, red white face English crossbred calves. Cattle weaned 70 days, 2 rounds of shots, 375, 500 pounds. 52 calves, the 4K livestock here north of Roswell. Excellent quality black white face Angus and Charolais crossbred calves. Cattle weaned 60 days. 2 rounds of shots, bunk broke, 500, 650 pounds. 93 steer calves, Mr. Dave Mead, Verdun, New Mexico. Ex-quality black Angus and Brangus crossbred calves. Cattle weaned 75 days, 2 rounds of shots, 375, 550 pounds. 90 steer calves, Mr. Earl Baker, Van Horn, Texas. Ex-quality black white face Angus crossbred calves. Cattle weaned 75 days, 3 rounds of shots, thin condition, 350. 550 pounds. 80 calves, Mr. Gordon Hayes, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Ex-quality black Angus calves. Cattle weaned 80 days, 2 rounds of shots, medium condition, 400, 500 pounds. 63 calves, Mr. Rankin Frost, Carlsbad, New Mexico. Ex-quality excellent quality red white face English crossbred calves. Cattle weaned 100 plus days, 3 rounds of shots, 375. 550 pounds. 80 steer calves, the Barrow Cattle Company at Andrews, Texas. Excellent quality black white face, red white face English crossbred calves, 2 rounds of shots, 400, 550 pounds. 70 calves, Mrs. Pete Lewis, Dale City, Texas. Excellent quality yellow Charolais crossbred calves. 1 round of shots, medium condition, 575 pounds. 40 steer yearlings, Mr. Mark Gaynor, McDonald, New Mexico. Excellent quality black Angus yearlings. Cattle weigh 120 days. 2 rounds of shots right off grass, 725 pounds. 81 calves, Mr. Butch Porter, Milan, New Mexico. Excellent quality, 90% black white face Angus crossbred calves. Cattle weigh 60 days. 2 rounds of shots, 350, 550 pounds. 86 calves, Mr. David Gable, Roe Mesa, New Mexico. Excellent quality black white face and Charolais crossbred calves. Shots at Brandon, 475 pounds. 41 calves, Miss Gail Carter, Carlsbad, New Mexico. Ex-quality black white face, red white face, English crossbreds. Bovinshield Gold, 8 weight at Brandon, 350, 500 pounds. Sale time this morning will be at 9 o'clock. Sell pairs, bred cows, 9:30. Be selling calves and yearlings at 10 a.m. Very short on cows today. Be on calves and yearlings by 10. We expect to sell 2,200 head today. This is
Playing dance music can help ward off mosquitoes. Now you have a reason to invite Pitbull to your next pool party. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:22, and joining us in studio this morning from Bristol Law Office, Matt Bristol back with us. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Mike. How you doing?
Doing well. How was your New Year's?
It was nice and quiet. How about yours?
Quiet as well. I mean, for the most part. I mean, other than the shooting of the fireworks and all the noise, the beating of the pans. Not so many good gunshots, thank goodness. People are hopefully starting to figure that lesson out.
That's good.
What comes up must come down. Don't do that.
Yeah. Gravity works all the time.
Yes,
sure does.
But relatively quiet, other than just the normal sounds of New Year's.
Well, Troop 7 was supposed to go. The female troop was supposed to go to Camp Wahanape this past weekend. And so I contacted the ranger down there, and he's past Weed in Sacramento. And he says, "Oh yeah, they have 5 inches of snow."
Ooh, practice some winter camping.
Well, we got to thinking about it, and
it's probably not a good idea.
Well, that road up after Mayhill, the road up is really windy and steep, and it's on the north side of the slope.
Yeah.
One of the adults heard that the schools up there had closed.
I knew there were delays. I didn't know if they finally closed or not. When I got the start of the day, it was delays. I never caught the rest of it. So.
Well, we're just kind of worried about the ice and stuff.
Sure, makes sense.
So we're going to postpone it till this coming weekend.
Good deal. Well, there's nothing wrong with
being safe. Nothing wrong.
It's first things first. But,
that's right.
Yeah, and I imagine that's the big, because to be honest, scouts this is you camp in the conditions, and so you gotta deal with a winter type things. And I remember when I was in scouts, I slept in an igloo up when we went up to Ottawa for like their little winter fest thing.
Cool.
Yeah, we built igloos and slept in them.
Oh, awesome.
It's a cool night's sleep too.
Yeah.
Very warm, by the way. They're way warmer than people think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
snow's actually a very good insulator.
Yeah, and so it was kind of neat. But yeah, that's scouting. So yeah, but road conditions, that always trumps the ability to camp in some bad weather.
Yeah, I don't think the snow bothered anybody. It's just the icy roads.
To be honest, kids probably look forward to it. Snow. I mean, the rain not so much, but snow, that's probably fun to camp in.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, there'll probably be some left in the shadows, I'm sure, this coming weekend.
Hopefully.
It's 20 here. It's probably 15 up there.
Yeah, and I know we're supposed to hit the 60s at some point, but it'll never see that up there. So there might be a little snow laying around.
Yeah, we'll deal with it when we get there. We're looking forward to it. The kids are looking forward to it.
They'll be prepared either way.
That's right.
Good deal. Well, for folks that are not familiar, Matt joins us each month, and really we just talk about just practical things from a legal standpoint for your home, your family, your business. Most of it preventative measures, so you don't have to hire the services of Matt Bristol later down the road.
Yes. Prevention's worth $10,000 worth of cure. That's for sure.
To be honest, you'd probably have to, I'm gonna say take a second job, but if people start doing it, you definitely have to hunt up some clients. That's for sure.
Well, we'd make it work.
That's true.
There's always something good going on.
But last month, being the end of the year, now we're in that we always focus on that. Hey, this is the time where you kind of give the family update on what to do in the event of type thing.
Yeah, so hopefully everybody did that over the holidays, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and taking care of business and talking to the kids about, here's the will if you need it, safe deposit box with all valuable information, insurance, retirement accounts.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody had that speech.
Absolutely, and it's so important. Matter of fact, we just had a recent loss on our family here, and so there was those conversations over with my wife's sister passed, and of course she has a kid in high school, about to graduate high school, another middle school. Her husband, my brother-in-law, he's a Santa Fe sheriff, and needless to say, he's now being a single dad with 2 kids. He's going to be retiring from the sheriff's department here as soon as he's physically able here. I think he's got to put in another year here. But
okay, well, I'm very sorry to hear about that.
Thank you, but again, the plan. Thank goodness, there's plans in place, and the kids are, as far as financially and everything, everyone's going to be fine.
Oh, that's good.
So they can, but they can focus on the other side, the stuff. So there's plans for the kids' school. Nothing changes them other than
that's good.
Tanner, his, because of his lifestyle, he's like, I'm just going to put in my time, retire. Because he'll have enough time between Albuquerque Police and Santa Fe, and then he'll just take a job where he doesn't have to, carry a gun or do something.
Spend more time with the kids. That's good. Yeah, everybody, when the kids are babies, everybody wants to be home with the baby because babies are so cute.
Sure.
But the time to be home with the kids is junior high and high school.
Absolutely.
When they get
those real formative years when they're kind of planning their adulthood phase here.
Well, that's when the kids get in trouble. They get home after school, and that's when they have their first beer or first cigarette or whatever.
And it'll work out. Whereas the oldest, who's going to graduate high school here in May, June, she's already locked down college. She was think about, but so she's already set to go to UNM. She's going to stay, so she'll be in town close by.
Yeah.
Of course, she's a kid, so she's like, no, I'm not staying at home. I want to stay in the dorms, and so she's going to be not at home, but at home close enough where she can do laundry or,
Well, it's good she's going to be in the dorm on campus. The first, I think, 2 years, kids should have to stay on campus.
You learn a lot there. You learn a lot about, how to deal with other people 24/7 in a communal situation, and you learn a lot about people in that.
Well, that's where everything's happening is on campus.
It's true. Plus, you're plugged in. Exactly. Yeah. With everything.
So today, we're going to talk about divorce.
All right. Happy subject.
Happy subject, yeah. Start off the new year right. So New Mexico, are there grounds for divorce? And if so, what would they be?
I would imagine yes, if there's infidelity on one side or another.
Actually, infidelity is a ground for divorce, although the judges never want to hear about it.
Right, but I'm going to, because just my knowledge of marriage, there's 2 things that generally break up a marriage: money or cheating.
Yep.
So I imagine, short of kind of embezzling money or doing something criminal, maybe, I don't know.
Actually, it's incompatibility.
Okay, that is a ground for divorce.
That's a ground for divorce.
Just oil and water don't mix here.
We just don't get along no more.
So I was thinking bigger than that. So.
And so even though infidelity is a statutory ground for divorce, the judges don't want to hear about it. They just stick with incompatibility.
That's a lot of mess.
It's a lot of mess. So
imagine the stories and the testimony is a little more entertaining to sit through the afternoon with.
Could be.
Yeah.
So if incompatibility is a ground for divorce, does New Mexico require fault in a divorce?
Probably not.
It does not.
Yeah.
It does not. So back in the old days, back in the 40s and 50s, places like California, New York, you had to allege some kind of fault.
Okay.
So it's cruelty or infidelity.
There had to be a bad guy.
There had to be a bad guy. There had to be fault.
Okay.
And a lot of times some states even have a cooling off period where the divorce can't be finalized for a year.
Gotcha. That's kind of the separation. I don't know, but I remember back in the day you couldn't just get divorced. You had to get separated in the X amount of months of separation, then you can file. I don't know if that's still true.
In some states.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maryland must have been one of those because I remember, where I grew up, that was.
Yeah. So people didn't want to wait a year, so that's when everybody was going to Las Vegas for quickie divorces.
Gotcha.
And so New Mexico didn't want to be a divorce mecca, so they instituted a 6-month residency requirement.
Our judges are busy enough.
But New Mexico was the first no-fault divorce state in the country, actually.
Okay. Well, we were on the cutting edge of legal precedent.
Indeed. So what does no fault mean exactly?
I think I would, in my opinion, neither side is contesting anything. They just say we want to break it up and call it good and split it however and go about our way. No harm, no foul.
And no.
Okay.
Because sometimes there are still people who don't want the divorce.
Okay.
But no fault divorce means a couple things. One is you don't have to allege fault.
Gotcha.
There is no bad guy.
So trying to get on the stand and prove their infidelity is moot. Doesn't matter.
Correct.
Got it.
Judge doesn't want to hear it. And I've met lots of spouses that are very angry that their spouse cheated on them, and I don't want my kids to see the other spouse, and I want the judge to punish my spouse for cheating on me. And it's like, I'm sorry, there's no fault stage of the proceeding. There's no point in time where the judge is going to say there's a good guy and there's a bad guy.
Sure.
But part of that no fault is that all the property's divided 50-50 without regard to fault.
Gotcha. Unless there was some kind of prenup in place.
Right. Prenup or postnup.
Yeah.
So the statute says 50-50 unless there's it has to be in writing to the contrary.
Gotcha.
So you can't just say, well, we
decided.
Our habit was keep our finances separate. So now it's got to be in writing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if somebody cheated, if somebody was, or your spouse ran up $20,000 of credit card debt you didn't know about, but guess what? You're liable for?
You absolutely are, yeah.
That's still split 50-50. So there's no fault divorce.
Gotcha. So that being said, if you have that kind of thing, maybe no fault's not your best option. If your spouse literally abused the finances and things like that, either way you're responsible for that. But I imagine, through a fault divorce, you probably have some kind of protections there to try to at least get out of some of that.
Yeah, I don't know. And so there's a slight exception in New Mexico for what are called extraordinary debts.
Gotcha.
And those can be assigned to one spouse. But those are very rare.
Okay.
And so that would probably be some kind of embezzlement, something.
Gotcha. Something criminal.
Yeah, probably bordering on that. But often we see a spouse has these credit card debt that the second spouse never knew about, and it's, gosh darn, sorry, it's 50-50 on that
That's why
debt.
both of you should check the mail from time to time. Just saying. If you have suspects of that stuff, both of you need to be checking
the credit report. Look for that stuff.
Yeah, check it out. Just do a double take,
Well, and people should talk about that before they get married, but often they
I'm going
don't.
to take a stab at they're going through divorce. They're already, you know what I'm saying? That ship sailed. So do your homework.
Do your homework before the I do's or will you marry me?
Yes. And absolutely. But and that's that's the thing that gets me is that and this is probably the lesson learned. I'm going to say most divorcees, because they go through these, like I said, there's reasons. It's either a cheating situation or a money situation, and hopefully you learn those lessons. If you do go through that nasty divorce, lesson learned the second time, that you don't pay attention to those things, especially if you unfortunately, yes, you ultimately want to trust your spouse, but if the one person's doing all the finances, that's great, as long as there's that can also lead to these situations we're talking about when divorce time comes. It's like, I didn't know about this. I didn't know she had this credit card here that had $30,000. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't absolve you from it. That's the problem.
Well, and I've seen where the husband comes home, gives the paycheck to the wife, and doesn't think twice.
Mm-hmm.
Other situations where the husband controls the money, but no specific gender has the monopoly on good money handling,
Sure.
and that should go to the good money handler.
Absolutely. In our situation, right, my wife does all that stuff. That being said, I have access to all the accounts. I see all the stuff. I poke around and look. But as far as who actually, physically pays the bills or, I would say writes a check, but, not anymore. Who clicks the button to send it to the that's my wife who does all.
Well, and early on in the marriage, people should talk more and share more and both know what's going on.
Yeah, we talk about it, but she's the actual, put the one who sends the bills, who, back in the day, put the stamp on the envelope.
Yeah.
She handled all that, because in our, and this is what works for us, in our primary, we have a savings account.
Right.
And then we each have checking accounts, but they're joint. Like, I'm the primary one, she's the primary other, but either one of us can go into either one, move money and things. I understand that doesn't work for all marriages, but that's just how Kim and I have been doing it for, 25 years now, and we seem to be doing all right. So
That's good.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if people marry early in life, we see, the divorce where truly they just grow apart. And because I think when somebody's 22 years old, I don't think they really know who they are.
Right.
And so as they grow and mature and become somebody by the age of 40, then it's like, I really don't know who I married.
Sure.
Just because they in fact just grew apart, and so, sometimes just nobody's fault.
Absolutely. Well, and when you're young, you have dreams, aspirations, hopes, and as you get older, you've either started to niche those paths or well, let's face it, life's chewed you up and you've just lost some ambition. That happens.
Yeah.
But that's also with marriage. It's I imagine one spouse, kind of doesn't have the aspirations of the other, and that's where they kind of drift apart and things like that. I mean, it happens all the time.
It does. Yeah. They develop different values, different life ideas, and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's nobody's fault. So hundreds of years, started about 100 years ago in the past, especially in England. When there was a divorce, the husband would always get the children in the divorce because they were considered as property.
Gotcha.
And then in the 1900s, some psychologists came up with this theory of what they called tender years. That when a child was of tender years, they needed their mother to take care of them.
So imagine that's the toddler, baby, up to, I don't know, 5th grade maybe. I have no idea.
Yeah. so in the U.S., the wife started getting custody of the tender years children for many, many decades until everybody decided that just was a little lopsided.
Sure.
So in New Mexico, if there's children in divorce, there is no preference for either parent to get the custody of the children, which is good because there's a lot of good dads out there.
Well, every family has a different situation, you can't put it in a cookie cutter. Mom, by sheer statistics, mom should be the primary caregiver. It doesn't. Yeah, it don't work that way.
So time sharing with kids is typically based on people's work schedules. So you look at the work schedules and.
Sure. Whose life has less chaos in it to handle this.
That, or somebody works at night.
Sure.
Or maybe somebody works in the oil field. It's, 10 days on, 2 days off. And so time sharing really is split according to work schedule.
Yeah, makes sense. And I imagine that does alter over time as jobs change and lifestyles change and all that good stuff too.
Yeah, so hopefully parents adapt with that.
Of course, not too long. Then they're called adults, and that's on them to figure out what to do. After like 18 years, it's on them.
They're out on their own. Yep.
That's true.
So I hear a lot of people are confused about what's a legal separation, because they come in and they say, well, I'm thinking about getting a divorce. My wife and I are legally separated. I'm going, you have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, that's something you hear on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Again, on TV shows and whatnot. That's a common, we're legally separated.
Yeah. Except in New Mexico, there is such a thing as a legal separate by statute.
Okay.
So what do you think that is?
I always assumed it was like that cool-off period of which you spoke earlier, where basically you must be in this 1 year period before we can say, marriage is divorced, it's dissolved.
A legal separation is pretty much like a postnup.
Okay.
Except it's a court order.
Okay.
And it divides assets and debts. It can provide for child custody if there's children involved.
Okay.
Can't provide for child support. But it does not actually separate the people from living together.
Okay.
It just says these assets are yours, these assets are mine.
Just delineates who's responsible for paying what bills, basically.
And it could say, and in the future, you know, the retirement that Mike earns is his sole and separate. And the retirement that Kim earns is her sole and separate. But it's a legal separation in Mexico, simply divides assets and debts.
So it almost turns you into roommates again.
Well, but it has, it's a court order. Now you could enter into a contract to divide assets and debts. That's a postnup.
Does that define like power attorney stuff or whatever? Because generally speaking, your spouse can make medical decisions for you and things like that. Does any of that change when you're under a legal separation?
It shouldn't.
Okay.
Probably not directly addressed, things like that. But if, you know, say people are getting up in years, and one spouse, and then say you got some money. I mean, you're not rich, but you got some money.
We're trying to protect assets.
And you want to protect assets.
Okay.
If one spouse goes into a nursing home, you can do a legal separation.
Well, and everyone knows, you know, once you get into those living assisted facilities, and the income, and you know, when you're on the bubble, were you going to afford this or not? They, you know, before they tap into the services, they pretty much drain your bank accounts and everything else. If you're not broke, you're going to be broke.
Exactly.
And so this kind of protects, like, you know, from them taking into your, you know, what is your spouse's nest egg for them. You know, this is one of those tactics to protect them.
Yeah. So if Kim has to go to the nursing home, your half the assets are protected because of the legal separation. They're divided out.
Makes sense.
Sole and separate.
Makes sense.
So sometimes, like you were saying, a lot of times money is a problem in a marriage, and sometimes they quote legal separation or postnup helps fix that.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's your money, and you do what you want with it. If you're a spendthrift, that's on you. But my retirement, you know, that I've worked for is
so if you got a spouse that's draining you blind, this is a way to kind of protect you from that a little bit,
right? Because the postnup or legal separation says, and I'm not liable for your debts from now on.
Like if you watch that show, Landman, that's just been on, and when you see his wife go on I need help, and calls Prada, whoever he called it, you got one of those situations, this might protect you.
Yeah.
Neiman Marcus, that's who she called.
Well, so when we say, and I'm not liable for my wife's future debts, that includes the nursing home, Prada, Capital One, you know, Visa, MasterCard, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be one way to save the marriage is just separate the finances.
Sure. If you like each other, just oil and water when it comes to finances. And let's fix that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that pretty common? Or is it usually most people get to that point and they're like, no, I'm divorced?
Usually they go ahead and get divorced.
Okay.
Now, we do see some legal separations, but it's usually often in contemplation of a divorce.
Gotcha.
And so in a couple of years, if the divorce goes through, well, they've already divided everything. So it makes the divorce pretty easy.
Gotcha. I know, you know, we were talking earlier, and we were talking about, you know, divorces and how things were done. And my understanding, and maybe, you know, maybe that's just a misunderstanding, is I felt like divorce was a thing that really the 60s and 70s, you know, prior to that, divorce was very in the dark, very quiet, like, you know, because it was a social status. If she's divorced, hey, and that was a black mark, you know, on their.
Yeah.
So am I just naive that no, divorces went on very common prior to the 60s and things like that? We just didn't talk about it. I mean, I didn't know. Just in your legal history, and obviously you weren't practicing law in the 20s and 30s either, but just curious, just, you know, no, that's a myth. People were getting divorced all the time. You know?
Yeah, I remember the Great Depression.
I was there.
Well, probably divorce was not as prevalent. You know, I think nowadays there's close to a 50% divorce rate.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't as prevalent. I think people just kind of muddled through,
but it was enough to where there was case law and everything else.
Oh yeah. I mean, it definitely was going on.
Gotcha. Because in my head, I just felt like that was like something you never heard of back then. It was like, oh, they're getting divorced. Oh, you know, it was just But then again, I was like, well, maybe that's just a misunderstanding.
So back in 1994, we actually had a transsexual divorce case here in Roswell.
Okay.
I was involved in.
94, that was a while ago, too.
Yeah. So I represented the husband, and he was German, and he had advertised in some singles newspaper in Europe.
Okay.
Looking for a young lady, start a family kind of thing. And so this young lady answered the ad, and so they dated around a while for whatever, and decided to get married, and she insisted on Vegas, getting married in Vegas.
Okay.
Because Nevada does not require blood tests.
Ah. Uh-oh. I can see where this is going.
And she was Swiss.
Okay.
And in Switzerland, you can't have a sex change operation without a court order.
Okay.
And sure enough, she had previously been a he and undergone the operation to become a female.
Okay.
But that kind of queers the whole having kids thing.
Yeah.
So the question is was there in 1994 can two men be married?
And
is that so? Guess what? There's case law on that.
Okay.
Back to the 40s.
Interesting.
Yeah. Back to the 40s of, somebody had the operation and married, and then the husband found out, like, well, what are you going to, you got to let that out?
Yeah.
While we were dating. And so yeah, there were divorces going on back in the 40s.
Interesting.
30s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I figured they existed, but I just figured they were, we do not speak of that. It is
There's a big social stigma with divorce. Yeah. So it wasn't as common. Well, Spencer Tracy.
Sure. But I guess I just kind of figured that in and of itself was a deterrent, where now, like when the 60s hit, when we were seeing the, women's liberation movement, the whole, just the evolving of people's shift in what's considered moral in this world. You see those numbers. I grew up my whole life. I was born in the early 70s, so I've kind of my whole life's been in this style. So
well, the King of England, abdicated, or Prince abdicated the throne because he wanted to marry a divorcee.
Yeah.
So it was a huge stigma.
Yeah, and even that was in the window of the
1930s.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that would be in that same window there too. We only got about 5 more minutes here before we better wrap up here.
So of course, we don't advocate people get divorced, but if you're going through that, folks, please leave the kids out of it. Do not involve the kids. Don't talk about the divorce in front of the kids. Don't try to alienate the children. That's just really bad.
Yeah, it never. Put it this way: that's the recipe for having fractured relationships. It's one thing if you and the spouse don't get along, but when you use the kids as leverage against these, it never ends well. At best, you're going to have the kids very isolated or mad from one of the parents. At most, it's going to be both of them. And these kids end up having some other issues because of that.
Well, when you badmouth your spouse, guess what? That kid is half spouse.
Yeah.
Of the other spouse.
They look at you both equally in their eyes that way.
So they're hearing the badmouth them, and it backfires, folks. So let's just play
I
nice.
know from a kid brain, depending on the age of the children, there's going to be which one's nicer to me, which one's that's the one I want to go to. Then
some kids will play it off.
Absolutely,
some will.
But as parents, you got to, there's enough turmoil going on. You got to take the high road when it comes to your kids and all that. And because at the end of the day, that's the legacy. That's your grandchildren. That's what you and you're putting out in the world there, and you got to provide that best foundation, regardless if you couldn't. Regardless if you could work it out with your spouse or not, doesn't matter. You got to. This is that thing when they talked about when you have kids, it doesn't end. This ain't a puppy. This ain't. This isn't. This is something that's gonna be a part of you the rest of your life. Hopefully. Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, but not if you're bitter and ugly about the divorce.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that kind of goes down.
Yeah.
So in ancient Rome. they build a lot of in the interior buildings also were marble. I mean, the outsides were too.
Sure.
But a lot of the interiors were marble because it was cheaper than wood.
Yeah, so wood wasn't as plentiful there as it is on other places.
So sometimes the sellers of the marble would use wax. They'd wax the marble to hide imperfections.
Okay.
And the Latin word for wax is cero.
Okay.
C-E-R-O. So if you were shopping and you got the real deal, then you were buying the marble without the wax that was hiding the imperfections, right?
Gotcha.
So the Latin and the Spanish word for without is sin, S-I-N. So if you were getting the real deal without the wax, you were getting the sincero, sincere deal.
All right. So I was trying to think of how they were putting together. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see it. But and then you're like, oh, sincere.
Sincere, the real deal. And so we're using that same word 2,000 years later. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah, sincerely, we are.
Yes, sincerely amazed.
Very good. Now, if you may not listen to all of Matt's advice, or life happens, and of course you are in need of legal services when it comes to family law or business law, anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out to Bristol Law Office and let them tell you, yeah, you're going to need a lawyer, you're going to need all this, or no, you just got to fill out a few forms at the clerk's office and you're good to go. But let Matt and his team sit down with you and talk about what to do next.
Yeah, it's cheaper to do it the right way and at the beginning than try to fix something that's broken.
Absolutely.
So bristoloffice.net and give us a ring.
Absolutely.
625-5284. And Mike, thanks for having me today.
Anytime. Appreciate our talks each and every month. And stay warm next weekend when you're out winter camping up at Wahenepe. Hopefully it'll be a little nicer than this past weekend up there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, you're up in the mountain there. It's going to be, cell phones don't work mostly.
Yep.
And it's truly getting away.
It is.
And you don't realize how much you need it until you have it, and then go back to the real world, and you're like, oh, I want to go back up the mountain. So quiet up there. I didn't care about any of this stuff.
Yeah, it's a great camp.
Hey, Eagles fans are having a rough week. Go up to the mountains. Won't care about the Eagles.
There you go.
I'm not that I want to give advice to Eagles fans. You people make bad choices. But anyway.
Well, they're from Philly. So.
What are you going to do? But thank you, Matt. As always, appreciate it. And we'll see you next month.
All right. Have a good week.
You do the same. It is 7:53. We got to pause for news and a quick break here before the top of the hour. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell claims the central bank's independence is threatened by President Trump. He says the Fed has been served with subpoenas and is threatened with a criminal indictment related to his congressional testimony last June. The death toll in Iran has soared to more than 540 amid nationwide anti-government demonstrations threatening the theocracy with collapse. President Trump, who has threatened U.S. intervention, says Iran is now seeking negotiations. Several people injured in Los Angeles. Someone drove a U-Haul truck into a crowd of Iran protesters. The driver's under arrest. Homeland Security Secretary Noem says hundreds more federal agents will be deployed to Minneapolis and vicinity in the midst of big anti-ICE demonstrations. On Wall Street, stocks opening lower this morning. More details at srnnews.com.
Artesia General Hospital presents seasonal wellness reminders for you and your family. This time of year brings cozy sweaters, warm meals, and a few health challenges. Start by preventing colds and flu. Get vaccinated, wash hands regularly, and avoid touching your face when you're out in public. Find balance in holiday eating. Fill your plate with vegetables and lean proteins before reaching for the sweets. And fight dry winter skin by moisturizing often, staying hydrated, and running a humidifier if your home feels dry. Small choices add up to a healthier, happier season. These healthy living reminders are brought to you by Artesia General Hospital, ready to help take care of you and your family.
At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details. 2nd and Sycamore and 1309 Southeast Main.
At New Mexico Gas Company, our priority is your safety. That's why we add a rotten egg smell to natural gas to help alert you of the presence of natural gas. So if you ever notice a rotten egg smell, it might be a natural gas leak. We recommend that you leave the area immediately and from a safe distance, call New Mexico Gas Company at 1-888-NM-GAS-CO or 911. We're New Mexico Gas Company, and our priority is keeping you safe. That's why we're here. Learn more at nmgco.com.
A Greek-Canadian man invented the Hawaiian pizza. His name was Tex Colorado, and he was from Detroit. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:56. Town Hall News about to kick off here in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned next hour, about 8:15 or so. Mike Espiritu joining us in studio from the Roswell Chaves County EDC. They've got some events coming up this week at the Air Center and stuff we want to put on people's radar here. So we'll chit-chat with him next hour about that. Let's see. Let me tell you about this. Tomorrow night, the fine folks at Dion's Pizza, they're on South Main and West Wilde. Every so often they do their community nights, and they benefit a different organization, and it'll be different nonprofit or school sports team, something like that. And so their next community night will be tomorrow night, January 13th, and the community night's going to be benefiting Dexter High School softball. A portion of all the sales going on at Dion's between the hours of 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow will be donated to the Dexter High School softball team. So if you want to come support them, you can enjoy a delicious dinner at Dion's, whether you come in, dine in, or you can call ahead and pick up, or you can even order online at dions.com for dine-in and pickup, and all of that will count if you do it between the hours of 5 and 8 p.m. tomorrow. All of that will count towards the proceeds for the Dexter High School softball team. So, again, that's tomorrow night, January 13th, from 5 to 8 p.m. at Dion's there on South Main and West Wilde. Come on out and enjoy a delicious pizza or sandwich or salad. I think they're one of my favorite salads in town. Like when you get the salads, they get the we do the same thing every time. Is we get salad, and it's just 2 or 3 of us, but we end up getting like a pizza, and then we get that family size salad. There is one smaller, and we never do it. We should, but we never do. We end up getting that big, giant family size, but there's so much salad there that 3 of us can't possibly finish it in the time where it stays fresh. It's just. You just have to hook up like a salad IV to get that done. And so we always overbuy. But, man, they have good. We usually get the one with the turkey and the egg and all that good stuff. But, anyway, go there or go. If you don't want pizza, my favorite sandwich there is the turkey. Get the turkey, but instead of putting the Greek dressing on it, ask for a cup of the green chili ranch and dump that on the turkey instead. It's a winner. Trust me. You'll thank me later. Good stuff. But, of course, if you want delicious pizza, they got you covered there by the slice, by the pie, gourmet pizzas. Try some of if you haven't tried a Dion's gourmet pizza, try one of their flavors out, too. Again, go to dions.com or come on by tomorrow night between 5 and 8 p.m. Let's see. Also, do want to remind you right now that Roswell Ford, they're having New Year's resolutions that are tough. Even better. Right now, Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford fast and easy during their loan and lease termination event at Roswell Ford. They'll do whatever it takes to get you released from your loan. At least this month, they have a great selection of new Fords and quality pre-owned vehicles as well. Buy now with 0 down and make 0 payments until Easter as well. And don't worry about credit. They have partnered with more aggressive lenders that will push to approve your credit. With great rates and terms, even if your credit is less than perfect. Who is it, right? So swing on by to Roswell Ford. Go online, roswellford.com, or give them a call, 575-623-3673, and check out all the great deals to be had right now at Roswell Ford. All right, it is time for Town Hall News. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell claims the central bank's independence is at risk, and he blames President Trump. Powell says the Fed has been served with subpoenas and is threatened with a criminal indictment related to his congressional testimony last June. Powell's already on his way out as a Fed chair with just 4 months left in his tenure. The death toll in Iran has soared to more than 540 amid nationwide anti-government demonstrations threatening the theocracy with collapse. The BBC's Lee's Doucette.
Videos have emerged of a makeshift open-air morgue just outside Tehran, where people came searching for their loved ones. The BBC was able to count at least 180 white shrouds as refrigerated trucks kept pulling up with more. The government has also been burying its own. Coffins of security forces and civilians were carried by crowds in what state television says were at least 10 provinces.
President Trump, who has threatened U.S. intervention to halt the bloodshed, says Iran is seeking negotiations. As for what the protesters are seeking,
I think they just want peace. They want to have freedom. The protesters are after freedom. Iran has not allowed freedom for a long time. And the protesters, I don't think they're trying to appease me. They're trying to get somebody to help them. They're under siege.
Several people injured in Los Angeles. Someone drove a U-Haul truck into a crowd of Iran protesters. The driver is under arrest. Homeland Security Secretary Noem says hundreds more federal agents will be deployed to Minneapolis and vicinity in the midst of the ongoing anti-ICE demonstrations. Watching Wall Street this morning, stocks in the red. The Dow is down about 165 points. The Nasdaq off 3 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
The iron grip of dictatorship.
The Unleash Prosperity newsletter has released graphs and stats showing poverty, inflation, and outmigration soaring under dictators Chavez and Maduro. In an update, UP unveiled a chart showing homicides quadrupling. When Chavez took power in 1999, homicide rates were at 25 per 100,000. Now that rate has jumped to 90. There were just under 6,000 violent deaths at the end of 1999, now 26,000.
And corresponding Ken Lorman says that is one of the world's highest homicide rates. Malaysia and Indonesia have blocked access to Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok due to its misuse in generating explicit images. Authorities in both countries acted over the weekend, citing concerns about non-consensual and sexual deep fakes. News and analysis, townhall.com. A display at one of the Smithsonian museums no longer includes a reference to Donald Trump's 2 impeachments.
Changes have been made at President Trump's photo portrait display at the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery here in Washington. References to his 2 impeachments have been removed, while references to the Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton impeachments remain. There's also a new Trump photograph on display. Since taking office nearly a year ago, the president has accused the Smithsonian of bias. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Trump says he wants a 1-year, 10% cap on credit card interest rates. It's something he's mentioned before. It's an idea that revives a campaign pledge, and it could save Americans tens of billions of dollars. However, it's an idea that also draws immediate opposition from an industry that, at least so far, has been on the president's side. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2 of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5. I think it's the big bucks. Roswell Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope all of you are having a delightful day. A little chilly out there. Weather was very cold this weekend. 50s. I think maybe we saw 60. I don't know. I didn't feel it, but somebody said we might have. But yeah, it's been dropping down in the teens and low 20s overnight here. So chilly this morning, but good news is I think we're going to be back in the 60s by midweek here. So you can't complain, folks. It's January. It's the winter. It's supposed to be cold. I know we were celebrating Christmas in Bermuda shorts, but it is supposed to be cold now. So this is nice. Although, actually, we'll talk to our next guest here. If you need your cold, I'm sure we can find some afterburner out at the airport for you. You need to warm up a little bit. But, so definitely we'll do all that here in a little bit. Matter of fact, we do have a busy hour. Mike Espiritu and Bobby's going to join us here with the Roswell Chaves County Economic Development Corporation. Talking about, of course, with the air races, there's a big event here today, but as we gear up, it's hard to believe. I know we were just talking about we just did air races, but folks, we got another one coming up here in a few months. That's how it works. Is we got another one, and this one's going to be bigger and better. Matter of fact, in case you hadn't heard, the U.S. Thunderbirds, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, are going to be a part of this year's air races. And matter of fact, that's what they're going to. I believe it's just one of the Thunderbirds. They're going to have one of the 16s out here, and one of the pilots, and we get to meet and greet because they're doing their. I guess winter training, I guess that's what they call it here, because they have air show season, which usually starts up, I want to say in the spring, like around April, May time frame, March, around time frame, and then it goes right up until usually around October, November time frame, just depending on, obviously a lot of the northern ones don't get, but down in Florida, they're still blowing it up down there. But anyway, so we'll talk all about that here with, and then of course other things happening in and around here with Mike in just a few minutes. We'll also get you up to date with the weather, news, and pretty much anything else we can come up with for this hour. So let's go ahead and get the hour started and get you up to date. And instead of just speculating about it, here's a meteorologist with your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong high-pressure system covering all of the southwestern states. We're hitting the mid-50s on the afternoon high today. Lots of sunshine. Pretty cold overnight. We'll drop into the low 20s with a few clouds, and then we warm up a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're expecting sunshine both days. Highs in the low 60s. We're in the upper 60s and sunny on Thursday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, let me refresh this. This is a little off. There we go. Not much better, though, unfortunately. Currently 24 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at 46%. Winds are calm at the moment. We are expected to hit mid-50s today. Sunny and 56. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, going to be clear. Another chilly night. Overnight low of 22. Winds will be calm. We'll hit mid-60s for you Tuesday. Sunny and 64 with south winds at around 5 miles per hour. Tuesday night, a little warmer. Still below freezing, but overnight low of 30 under clear skies. Wednesday, 62 and sunny. 66 and sunny on Thursday. We dip down into the low 50s on Friday. And then for the weekend, sunny and 57 for Saturday, sunny and 62 on Sunday. So just kind of hanging out there in that, flipping around between upper 50s, low 60s for most of the week here. All right, it is 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're going to take a quick commercial break, about a 2.5-minute break here, and then we will talk with Mike Espiritu and Bobby here on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Attention, attention. They've done it again. For 3 years in a row, Roswell Hyundai is the #1 used car supercenter in New Mexico. Whether you're in the market for a large truck, a super high-end luxury vehicle, or an affordable car for first-time buyers, the Roswell Hyundai Used Car Supercenter has one that fits your needs and your budget. So if you're looking for the best deal on your next vehicle, head for the #1 Used Car Supercenter in southeastern New Mexico 3 years straight. Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
You can buy all the furniture you want, but can you accessorize? This is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture. Transform your home by adding chic lamps, accent chairs, and unique statement piece artwork everyone will love and appreciate. Why live with basic walls and no ambience? Turn boring into colorful and pull that design genius from the depths of your heart. Your home will thank you, and so will we. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
This is Dr. Sarah Usher at Carabelli Dental. And we want you to know that we stay on the cutting edge with the latest technology and treatment options, because your smile deserves the very best. Our highly trained team is proud to offer sedation dentistry for every dental need, giving you a comfortable and stress-free experience every time. Discover advanced and modern dentistry personalized just for you, only here at Carabelli Dental.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main, or call 575-622-4455. When you or a loved one need medical transport, Trans-Aero answers the call. Trans-Aero Medevac operates 3 rotorcraft bases and 1 fixed-wing base in southeastern New Mexico, allowing them to respond quickly to emergencies across diverse terrains. Their fleet extends coverage deep into New Mexico and West Texas, including Artesia, Carlsbad, Roswell, Ruidoso, Midland, Lubbock, and the surrounding areas. Ready to answer the call when every second counts. Trans-Aero Medevac, proudly serving southeastern New Mexico and West Texas. Flown for free, thanks to the partnership from the City of Artesia and Trans-Aero Medevac. Life support by air.
It's possible to turn peanut butter into diamonds. Peter Pan tried it with his buddy Skippy, but they couldn't do it in a jiff. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 13 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Mike Espiritu with the Roswell Chavez County EDC, Economic Development Corporation, and Bobby Thompson, who is the director at the Air Center here this morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Anytime. Of course, it's exciting. It's been, like I say, you kind of, as a director here, the spotlight has been more on that Roswell Air Center here in the last 2 years, and I think it's been in the last 20 I've been here before, which is a great thing. That's it's one of these things that as long as I've been here, and like I said, it's been since about almost 25 years now. Everyone says, we got to do something. We got such a gem here with this Air Center, and I feel like we're finally starting to see fruition from that. Seeing that, even over the years here, COVID put a damper on it, where we're bringing in more flights, bringing in more stuff, which we got some things to talk about there on that. But and then of course, obviously the air races are a game changer on how things. But now, in the next 5 years, we're going to see more businesses, more growth out at that Air Center, and more growth there means more growth for all of southeast New Mexico.
Well, to put it in aviation terms, we were engine idle. Now we're going full afterburner.
There you go.
And
we're really fortunate, Mike, to have Bobby Thompson with us here at the Air Center. She's been part of the Reno Air Racing Association for a number of years, and but we were very fortunate that she was selected, and she said she would and be our director out there. And I tell you, it's been a game changer for our Air Center. And you're right, the air races, big deal. Really economic driver.
Sure.
And that's going to create, as you said, it's going to create a lot of opportunity. It already is.
Absolutely.
It already is.
Well, and it's just a connection that makes sense. They're looking for a new home. They're looking to grow. We're doing the same thing right here. And let's say, hey, we both have, let's put our goals together and achieve great things. And I think that's what we're starting to see out there.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be part of the selection committee for the new site for the air races. And Roswell.
So you've seen it from both sides?
Seen it from both sides. Been with the air races over 30 years. And this was just a great site from safety right at the very front. And fortunately, with the Brown Brothers Ranch and all the help that they've provided, it's just going to be an excellent another 60 years.
Absolutely, and I know we're a few months out here, but it's not too early to start thinking about getting signed up, locked in for this year's air races here. It's going to be.
Well, would you like a scoop?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's scoop me.
We are just now going to announce, and this will be the first place where they're announced the dates for 2026.
Okay, we got them. They're official.
They're official, September 16 through 20.
Very good. So it'll be, and if I remember right, is that like a couple days later than last year?
It's a little bit later, and we did that to accommodate the Thunderbird schedule.
That makes sense. Yeah, their schedule's pretty stringent, and we're very blessed to be on that schedule and to be a part of that. Which kind of, by the way, speaking of Thunderbirds, if you get a chance, come out to the Air Center here about time the show gets off the air here, about 10:30 or so. They're going to be doing a big press conference with the Thunderbirds. They're going to have one of the Thunderbirds, one of the F-16s here. Do you know off the top, which, is it one?
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay, so is that one of the solos?
It is.
Okay.
He's the one that does the rides for those that
gotcha.
Kind of like a ride.
Yeah, they kind of, and it's been a minute, but I know like the Blue Angels, and like usually the 1 through 4, they're kind of part of the formation. Maybe 5, but when you get to the lower numbers, they're the ones that do the solos, the splits. Now they'll be part of the big formation, but a lot of times those guys break off while the main 4 kind of do their precision flying.
In September, there'll be 8 jets here.
Very good. Good deal. And I don't care what anybody says. The F-16s are better. I'm speaking for bias. I'm an Air Force guy. The Blue Angels are amazing. Love them. But Thunderbird's my people.
Yeah,
well, too. And we're so very lucky to have them. Each year they select 32 cities out of 400 plus air shows. So we're very pleased to have them here in Roswell.
Absolutely. Just quickly, is the understanding to rotate them? Like, so if the Thunderbirds are going to join us this year, or the Blue Angels going to try to come by, or is that too early to even next year? Or is that?
Well, that's certainly on our horizon.
Gotcha.
We've done many, many air shows, of course. I've personally done 47 air shows, domestic and international, and 7 of those didn't have a jet team.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to push that, and we have Terry Marshall, who's just excellent at working with the military, former Air Force guy as well.
Excellent.
And we also have heard we're going to have a B-52 flyby during the races.
Oh, nice. Get a buff flying over.
Pretty cool.
Those things are massive, and I don't care what anybody says. They're as far as aircraft go, they've been around forever. They can't, obviously, when the B-52s first came out in the 50s, they're night and day different than one that in 2026. But they are still very much part of the tip of the spear as far as what we do and militarily and everything else, B-52s. And I don't think there's plans for them to go away anytime soon.
And either, the Walker Base used to be a home for them.
They were, yeah. And this is why we're blessed. When the base, no one wants a base closure, but we got some of the biggest runway in the country right here in our backyard.
Number 5.
Yeah, one of the biggest. And if I remember right, you can, this is a little above my pay grade on that, but from my understanding that the runway is made out of a certain material or something that pilots, that's like one of the few places on the planet where these pilots can qualify on that type of runway, and I don't know enough of the details about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because it was built for the B-52s.
Mm-hmm.
It's concrete.
Okay.
But it's not grooved. All the runways they build now are grooved for drainage, moisture drainage, and it's not grooved. So when we have Boeing in here and others in here for brake testing, that's what they're looking for, is a non-grooved runway.
Ah, very good. Does that... Of course, from your perspective, is that a bigger maintenance issue that for that runway, since there's no drainage or anything? Is there, you have to deal with water issues and stuff? Or?
No, it's been excellent.
And of course, you got to get rain for that to happen. But
there is that, so maybe that's the plan.
But yeah, we have a very unique thing, and we'd love to come. Now, please come out today. If you come out to the air terminal here, get there about, 10:15 or so?
10:15, he should be on deck.
All right, good. And then, of course, you'll probably see and hear him, and then he'll land, and you get.
We told him to make a lot of noise.
Oh yeah, you gotta wake the neighbors.
Sound of freedom.
It's just one Thunderbird. It won't be that loud. It's not like all 7 of them are going to be blown over here.
But it is an F-16. They make a little noise, right?
F-16s. Back in my day, we called them the Hoovers, because and you know exactly why I'm talking about this. If you ever look at an F-16, the intake for that is below the pilot. It's very low. It's only a couple feet off the ground, and it's. The F-16's got one big, huge honking engine where, the 15s or whatever, there's multi, but they're small. This one's got it's a big engine with wing strap to it. and that thing will suck up anything on the ground. And if you ever see military bases, they do what's called FOD walks. And these guys will walk, pretty much shoulder to shoulder, clearing any pebble, nut, bolt, screw, anything that happens to show up on the fly line's got to come off because, like at a 117 base, we kind of half jerried it because that thing ain't sucking nothing up. You might catch something in the tire. That's at worst. But F-16 base, you got to take that very seriously. You cannot mess around with that. And by the way, when you're learning to be around an F-16, you must be very careful. That I don't know how many training videos of people getting sucked up in that thing you don't see. It's an amazing aircraft, but that one you got to be on your toes around if you don't know what you're doing.
A lot of those leading edges, too, are low enough and they're sharp enough that they can slice open a person's head really easy if you're not careful.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I whack my head on antennas or anything on a stealth fighter going around under that thing. I don't know. And that thing's got because of the radar absorption, it's got these little jagged.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah, if you ain't at least got 3 lumps in your forehead after working on that jet a year, you ain't done worked hard enough. But I got way off topic here. But definitely, and of course, we do have some, with the flying stuff here, with the new flights and things like that. That's also happening here. We'll talk a little bit about that too.
Absolutely. Bobby's going to talk about United Airlines.
Yeah, we're very excited. On February the 17th, that will be the inaugural flight for the United flights. They'll be going Roswell to Denver. We'll have 2 arrivals and 2 departures per day.
Excellent.
Late morning and a late afternoon arrival flights, or departure flights, excuse me.
And so it's kind of neat because now people ask, "Who going to the airport? Are you flying out of?" Because everyone knew before it's flying out of American Eagle. And now, who are you flying out of? Could be one of 2. That's amazing. It's a good start.
Well, the 3 big airlines in the country are American, United, and Delta. And we've got, for now, we have 2 out of 3. But hang on.
But yeah, well, that's the thing is to bring more, and again, that with more options, it's good for business. Now we've got a direct connection with Denver. I know that's something, again, I think we were working with, and then COVID kind of put a backtrack on some of that stuff because and I imagine too at some point they're going to work to try to bring that flight west to Phoenix back in at some point or to one of those other hubs.
We're actually talking one to L.A.
L.A., there you go. We get that West Coast. That way you don't have to fly to Dallas to go to Vegas or anything like that.
Well, and the good thing about that with the Dallas, Denver, and then a potential of L.A., you're now connected to 3 of the airports where you can go anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. You're one hop from an international flight, basically, very easily here. And, and regardless of if you're going east or west or north or south.
Of course, it creates jobs here. They're hiring right now.
Well, I imagine, yeah, because think about it. If we're, I guess, kind of right now doubling the flying schedule, it means you're going to need twice the amount of personnel for maintaining the aircraft. Obviously, United hire their own personnel, but again, they're going to hire local folks to fill the void here, to be the mechanics and various positions there. I imagine TSA is going to have to increase their staff to cover increased hours for that.
And we're actually in the process of increasing the security hold area as well.
Very good.
And another 4,000 square feet.
Yeah, and that's just and this is what I love about the airport because yes, now we're getting more amenities, we're getting expansion, but I don't care what anybody says. Flying out of Roswell to anywhere else is way easier than any other airport in a city that's, Dallas, you pick it. D.C., Dallas, Denver, Atlanta, Seattle, don't matter. You're going to be waiting in line. You're going to be going through. And now here, that get there early. I'm not telling you to, but you don't have to show up like 3 hours early like you do at Dallas or any of these others. You can get there an hour and a half or so and be just fine there.
And everybody pay attention because February 1, TSA did change the rules, and you have to have real ID or a passport starting February 1, or there is a fine.
Well, hopefully you've gotten that taken care of. They have given you a heads up on this one. That's been, I think, 10 years now we've been talking about real ID. And anytime you get a driver's license in Mexico, I think for the last couple of years now, you have to get that real ID. That's why I've seen a lot of people come out of there screaming and hollering because they didn't have all the correct forms of ID to make sure that they can verify to get you a writ. But once you get it, it's a lot easier because I think I got it, not this past renewal, but the one before that. So it's very easy in and out.
The other thing we're doing is to improve customer service and customer experience at the airport is February the 11th. We're opening the restaurant, new restaurant. That'll be open 8 days or 7 days, 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. I'll get it out.
Good deal. So you can come for a meal, or if you're in between flights there or whatever, just hadn't be at that end of town, come in for lunch,
Well, there's a number of people that are employed out in that area.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's lunch options now be more accessible versus what they are currently. So we're pretty excited about it.
Absolutely. And it's a great thing, too, because in essence, too, because I know that they're trying to, yourself and other entities are trying to kind of get more retail and more that type of, it's the South End, it's college related or industrial, it's a lot of that kind of stuff. But, to create more food options, more recreation options for folks down at that end of town. I know
Mike's such a great partner in doing that. And then we've, of course, done all the paperwork, signed all the documents, and the $100 million museum will start construction when the weather breaks.
I've heard some of this. Now, my understanding is the museum is going to be a museum to commercial aviation, right?
It's like dedicated to the evolution of jet aircraft.
Okay, so it's a little more than that. But this is like Smithsonian level museum we're talking here.
$100 million plus.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
Indoor, outdoor. So it's a full museum.
So they have a plane yard of some kind, and
it's a plane yard is really.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll actually see full size airplanes in flight.
Oh, these will be actual, not just static displays, actual working aircraft.
There'll be aircraft on pedestals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good.
As well as indoor.
Good deal.
It's going to be quite the museum.
So it'll probably have some military aircraft as well as civilian historical
They're working on all those things right now.
Good deal. So to be determined on that.
Commercial first.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I mean, and obviously with the air races, it just makes sense with the magical of a partnership there of some kind of work together. Obviously, we already have the Walker Aviation Museum down there. Mm-hmm. I imagine this will lead to great things of a partnership where they can work together on some things out there. And
people should spend time in that. There's really a wealth of information in that small museum, but hopefully as we move towards a new terminal building.
Absolutely, we can get them a bigger space.
More space, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're fortunate to have them come on each month on the radio. And not only do they kind of, their mission out there is obviously the museum is study of the Air Force Base, Roswell Army Airfield, Walker Air Force Base. That's the main thing. But they also are equally covering the history of the first generation of intercontinental ballistic missiles that, by the way, the air base was the headquarters for several of those first generation, very unsafe ICBMs.
Well, in March, we're celebrating 100 years of the first rocket flight. Of course, Robert Goddard.
Oh, yeah. You've kind of heard of that guy.
And there's a number of activities associated with that.
Absolutely. So it's cool. And so I'm excited to hear about the history and all that. And of course, folks, White Sands is only a couple, that's got a lot of history there. That's the only space shuttle landing outside of Florida or California that's ever happened there. And that one time in, was it 82? I don't remember the year. When Columbia landed there, so we got a lot of history right here,
and we're making history too because we've had 7 classes of racers for several years now, but there's a new class being added in 26.
Very good,
which will be swept wing jets.
Okay,
we're looking at a Mach 1 race course.
Woo!
That's 700 feet a second.
That's breaking sound barrier. When you hit Mach, that's when they break sound barrier. So
we're going to try not to break sound barriers.
Although I wouldn't be mad if you did.
It's going to be fast.
I kind of like it.
It's going to be very fast.
Absolutely. Oh, that'll be exciting. And And then and obviously, with the year ahead, a year ahead for this other one, those classes that were that didn't end up competing this last time, they're going to be on board this time.
They're going to be on board. In fact, they'll be in town this week. We're looking to isolate a spot for the emergency runway they wanted.
Gotcha.
And we should have that completed by the end of the week.
Good deal. So their big issue that will be rectified and ready to go here come mid-September when we kick this thing off here too. And it's really, if you didn't get a chance to go out this past year, I hope you make plans to attend. If the Thunderbirds are the carrot you need to dangle in front of you to get out there, then by all means come out there. And I'm not going to lie too, it was a little heartfelt to go out there last time and see those big Black Sheep 16 sitting on the flight line there. And I love the paint scheme. I was, of course, it's a Black Sheep. You got to have a blacked out 16. You just got to.
Mike, at the last race, our first inaugural race last year, we had about 56,000 people, and there was folks from every state but two. Every state but two were here, and hopefully people know folks from those states. So shame me to come in.
We need a marketing campaign in them two states.
Yeah, it's Vermont and New Hampshire, so we need to get those folks here too. But we had 16 foreign countries here as well.
Awesome.
So we had a great presence all over our nation and all over the world. So I anticipate, as I believed in the very beginning, that this sets the stage for great economic opportunities.
Absolutely.
In many other areas, and we're already seeing that as a result.
Sure. Well, and that's and let's face it, it really, because obviously Roswell, New Mexico, prior to last year, were known universally for the little green men, the aliens. That's just, and though they're very different, they draw the same kind of people sometimes, if that makes sense. Where folks that are into the alien stuff, a lot of them are also into military aircraft and flying and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like they kind of go together, kind of that peanut butter and chocolate situation where they just go together. And I think, it kind of gives us a full year of really opportunities for tourism, for growth, like you said, to bring more businesses, to bring, I imagine we're going to see a lot more hotels and things wanting to set up shop here over the next couple of years, just because we're going to see a bigger influx of, we were a tourist town that's going to go kind of to a next level now with really not one but two major national events, international events, really, in a town of 50,000.
And it's the only place in the world where it happens, in the entire world.
Yep. The EDC also has another initiative, and that's working with a company called Retail Strategies. Mm-hmm. Now, what is that? This company out of Alabama, headquartered out of Alabama, they're working with us. We're working with them jointly on how can we boost our retail service sector to create the amenities, create the more needs and services that we need, not only as a community, but for the guests that come here.
Sure.
So that's already been going on. We're in our second year of that, and we're starting to see some fruition as a result of that work, because it's not inexpensive, but it's well worth the opportunities to provide the things that people need and people want.
Absolutely.
Right here in our town. So, and not only for Roswell, but as you mentioned earlier, it's all Southeast New Mexico.
Absolutely.
People come here to shop.
We are, right? Whereas like people will go to Albuquerque or Lubbock here, people from Artesia, Carlsbad, but they come here to do the same thing. Yeah. And you're right. We are kind of, and certainly with healthcare and those things, create an opportunity. And this is, and it all sets the table for the next thing. We talk about healthcare, and they say, well, we need more doctors. Well, doctors aren't going to come here. I mean, part of that's a legislative thing we got to fix up in Santa Fe. But the other part is we got to make sure we're a town appealing to a doctor who says, I want to live here. I want to, when I am off work, what can I recreate? What can I do? And so all of these things begat those types of things. So when we can increase or improve our amenities, that also improves our workforce and also brings in the companies that are going to be offering higher paid jobs.
On the medical perspective, Loveless and Eastern New Mexico Medical Center both have embarked on bringing in new technology in, robotic surgeries, 3D imaging, and which is really unusual for a town our size. And what's good about that, it takes care of the people that live here.
Absolutely.
And the people that we're attracting to come here.
You're not driving to Lubbock or Albuquerque for doctor's appointments.
A lot of these physicians, Mike, have been trained and schooled in these robotic techniques. And now they want to come and work in a place with those.
Yeah, they've been training on it. They want the tools. They want it's like literally being trained on an F-16, and they say, well, we don't have any.
Well, we're grateful that they've invested, because it's not inexpensive, but they've invested the dollars to bring in that type of equipment in and to get the people trained. And
it also really does, like you said, turn us into more of a regional destination for folks that from all over southeast New Mexico will come here to. And guess what? When they're coming here to get their doc's appointments, and they go and have lunch or something afterwards, and so it really is a win-win to bring in these things, to bring in that growth, to bring in and obviously with the jobs and things that are being created out of the Air Center, either through the museum or through various other businesses. These are all high-paying, family-raising incomes that you have here, and that's the magic ingredient. Once you have that, and then by default, more people, then your Olive Gardens and your whoever else is out there are like looking at us on the radar, and they're calling up Mike and saying, hey, we want to set up shop here and do, and so it all begats and works, to have so it all starts somewhere. So the growth here will meticulate out to growth in other parts.
And we're very lucky to have ENMU right there, and the races actually partnered up with them. There were $50,000 in scholarships that the races awarded to 5 of the A&P students, the Airframe and Power Plant students. And we also did a very big STEM program last year. About 4,700 kids went through the STEM program at the races, and that'll expand. And we want to make sure that we bring the youth in and get them excited and show them what offers there are to stay here in Roswell.
Create the next generation of air industry employees and things.
And so thankful for the citizens of Roswell. I mean, they really welcomed the racers and made them feel so welcome. And one fun story, kind of the other side of that, was one of the racers was at the grocery store buying groceries, and he asked the gentleman bagging the groceries, he says, you going to come out to races? He says, nah. He says, I really can't afford it. So that jet pilot gave him $100, says, come on out to races.
Oh, wow. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
He's like, no, you're come hell or high water. You're coming out here and enjoying these races. It's great to hear all that. And it's great to see that we're growing here. And obviously the addition of United Airlines to add their flight schedule here, that's a game changer out at the, and the part that's really interesting about that is prior additions were really through the same airline. Now we have 2, like you said, 2 international airline companies right here in our own backyard. And and to be honest, I think it's going to be good for them too. I mean, they may not see it right now, there's competition, but again, I think that's going to, more options means more people coming there.
And competition is such a good thing. And right now, that round ticket to Denver, $289.
And think of the headache and everything you're avoiding by driving, and or those folks that say, well, I'll drive to Albuquerque and fly out and save $1. But do you really? Between the gas you spent to get there, whatever it's going to cost to park. Now, granted, I know they got that cheap off thing for about $5 a day, but if they're gone a week, that adds up pretty quick, And so when people say that, I'm like, are you really though? Oh, and by the way, there's 6 hours of your life you're not going to get back going up and going back. Where, that's the best thing I love. You fly into Roswell, like, I'll be home in 10 minutes.
Mike, Mike, one thing that I want to make sure that your listeners hear, and I think it's an important message that I've heard, but I believe that everyone in our community, every single person should be proud of this town.
Absolutely.
Of the people that's in it, of their neighbors, their friends, their coworkers. And you know why? Because when 56,000 people visited this first race, all we heard from fans, people here locally, racers, was we've never been treated so well. We can't believe the people, how nice they are, how considerate they are right here in Roswell. And that's why people here, they need to remember that. That's a good thing, because you can't buy that.
Absolutely not. Reputation's everything. And to be honest, with the part that makes it even better is I think there was a lot of apprehension going in. Like these folks that came in and said, oh my gosh, these people are amazing, were very skeptical coming in. They were thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to Podunk, New Mexico. there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to, no play. You know what I mean? They're used to Reno, where they got designated name, but been there for a long time. They've got a routine. And I don't care what humans are. Once you get your routine, you like your routine. And we just changed their routine. So they're going to come in a little salty. They're going to come in a little skeptical. And guess what? They came in and we all just won their hearts and minds and went from, I don't know about this place to, I love this place. This is great. I want to. And guess what? Some of them hung out and went sightseeing and stayed and shopped and visited more parts of southeast New Mexico, and so we're going to see more of that. And so
the numbers, the numbers from 25 are just about right at $30 million economic impact,
and it's all up
all
from
going
here.
up.
It's all going to go up.
All from here. This is a great. And guess what? We're going to get better at it too. I'm not going to lie. There was some lessons learned this last year, and we're going to get better at that. And it's on both sides. The air race folks too. It's all brand new for them too, and so they're kind of learning. And I know they were putting out a lot of fires, making their own people happy over this because, like I said, people don't like change.
Well, important fact of all this too was this is the safest place they can fly. And Bobby can tell you that from the very beginning with Tim Spencer, the gentleman that does all the emergency services work, he said this place is amazing compared to the other sites they looked at. Don't you agree, Bobby?
Oh, absolutely. And from a spectator side of things, no matter which course those races were on, even the fastest movers, you can see it all. You can see everything.
Yeah, great seats there and great. It's a cool experience, and it's going to be even bigger, better, and cooler here this September. It's just, we're so excited for it, and I'm not gonna lie, the Blue Angels, or I keep saying Thunderbirds, are just going to. It's another level. When the Thunderbirds roll into town, or the Blue Angels for that matter, it's air show is next level. You instantly went from a certain number of eyeballs to a whole nother level of eyeballs start looking at you when the Thunderbirds roll to town.
Bobby mentioned a guy named Terry Marshall. He's the military liaison, and I spent time with Terry talking to the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds and the Canadian Snowbirds and other performers. And that guy really works hard to bring great opportunities, and he's doing the same for us. And although we don't know what next year is going to hold yet or the year after, but Bobby is with the International Council of Air Shows. She's on their foundation as a board member. She's been with that group for how many months?
Oh, the foundation, 3 years.
Okay.
3 years, but on the board of ICAS,
3 years.
Okay.
3 years.
So you're pretty plugged in.
Well, she's infamous in those circles, and I will tell you that the Air Racing Association has such a high level of credibility with that group and all these performers. It's just amazing, and I've witnessed it firsthand. And I think that's why we are so fortunate to have this here in Roswell, because of people like Bobby and Terry and Fred and many others.
Absolutely,
Tony. I mean, there's so many people involved that really make a difference in working this out. So you're right. There's some skeptical people when we first started.
Sure,
but when they realize how professional the Air Association is,
won the hearts and minds.
And you know what? They know what they're doing. They've been doing this for 60 years.
Yeah.
I figured,
that's from your perspective, and obviously you were in the room, you saw it, but from your perspective, like, look, these guys have been doing it forever. I'm very confident they're going to come in here and win here as well too. Like I said, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be a few bumps in the road. There always will be, and then I would also throw this caveat, since people in the room and the company in this room are military experience too as well. The Air Racing Association, obviously, is full of military folks and veterans. They were a bunch of stubborn mules. I'm not going to deny that. But when it comes to getting something done, they will cut through any amount of red tape to get. It is because their military experience, they're so used to dealing with red tape and dealing with the hurry up and wait mindset that they are the most, once they put their cantankerous brains to something, come hell or high water, it's going to happen. And the Air Race Association, we're full of veterans. And I'm just not saying just veterans make them better. I'm just saying I know the mindset of the people, and failure is generally not an option.
Well, the rah-rah folks always honor the military. Those are active and veterans and retirees. And on Fridays, they have free admission. And they give every veteran a ball cap.
Yeah.
and they really treat the veterans with dignity and purpose and thanks. And I think that's so good because, where do you see that, right?
Well, and that goes so far. Doing the little things, doing the things to just show your appreciation, even if it's something as simple as handing out a bunch of ball caps. That it just says, look, they're thinking of me, they appreciate me, and that speaks the volumes, especially in a world we live at where everybody's buried in their phones and buried in interpersonal, just communication just doesn't happen, and so so that it just shows the class of the organization. Just shows, hey, we're a flying organization, but we're people first, and that's
one of the interesting things is the participants and their crews are made up of astronauts, generals, a lot of retired military, some active military, a lot of airline pilots. These are folks that are really high quality professionals that they might be hanging out there in their jeans with oil covered hands, but these are top notch people.
They're all aerospace engineers and rocket scientists, literally.
Yeah, actually, we had a rocket scientist here last year flying the glider. So it's a place where you want to be and just get close and personal with those folks and talk to them. They're all very personable, and every guy in every pit will chat with you and get your kids excited about something positive.
It's very similar to like drag racing. They encourage you to walk pit lane and see the pilots or the mechanics and everybody in action. And as long as you're not in the way, chit chat with them. They're like car guys. They love talking about their planes just as much as car guys love talking about their cars. And if you're genuinely curious, they'll talk your ear off 9 times out of 10 to turn about that stuff. And if you're interested in learning more about that stuff or getting into it, a young person, this might be a foot in the door on, starting your path to being a pilot or to get your AMP license or whatever your dreams in the industry take you. That could be your place to set the table for that. So.
Well, as Bobby mentioned, they had nearly 6,000 students out there for the STEM Discovery event. And it was I was standing with Fred Tellen, who's the CEO and chairman of the board for RARA.
Great guy. We've had him on the show a few times.
And Fred and I were sitting there watching the kids coming in the gate, and each school had a different color T-shirt. And you've seen all these colors of all these kids coming in that front entrance. And you're right. I think that we'd like to see even more students in the nearly 6,000. I mean, we'll take as many as we can, right? But I think one of the videos that we can't obviously show on radio, but one of the videos highlights some interviews with those young people. And they all said they can't believe this right in their own backyard. They can't believe this about it. They didn't know. And that's another aspect of RARA. Not only do they honor the military, but they really, 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 really are interested in making sure the youth have a pathway forward.
Well, and to be honest, this is how we fix our current problems. Everyone that's paid any bit of attention know that the airline industry as a whole is way down on qualified people, and COVID killed it. The people that were kind of on the cusp, that were filled with experience, they just went ahead and retired. And so we lost a very valuable pool of experienced people to COVID. And this is why you're seeing almost weekly some kind of weird incident on, whether it's at an airport where two planes colliding or someone having to get waved off. We need air traffic controllers, mechanics, maintenance. Every facet of the airline industry needs qualified personnel, and so how do we do it? You light that fire when they're young, and you get them a chance to see what these are. I'm not going to lie. When one of the most exciting things when it was my school field trip to go to Andrews Air Force Base in D.C. That's where I grew up at, that area, to go to the air show, to go see all the cool things and the president's plane is there, for Pete's sake, and it wasn't even the coolest thing I wanted to see.
Well, and the guys in the pits actually invited some of the ENMU mechanic students to come over and work in the pits with them.
Nice, turn some wrenches.
Oh, and it was fun to see them because they'd never seen radial engines like the T6s have. And, they were like deer in the headlights looking at some of this stuff, but it was just great to get them excited about it.
Well, that's some actual wrench turning where nowadays, I imagine it's like cars. I'll tell you what's wrong as soon as I hook this computer up to it. But on those planes, it's like, no, you're getting in the engine. You're going to be turning some wrenches. You're going to replacing some mechanical parts. But come out today. Like I said, about 10:15 or so, get out there to the Air Center. Come see the Thunderbird fly over. he will land, and we'll get a chance to meet and greet and chit-chat with him here. And I'd imagine, you never know, with some of their training, you may just happen to catch a Thunderbird go a little west here, because they're going to be around Cruces area in that part of the desert.
For the training now, huh?
But you never know. Las Cruces in an F-16's a blink.
And their runway shorter.
And the runway shorter, too. So.
And Mike, one last thing, too, before we sign off. I do want to mention that we are just thrilled about the support and partnership with the City of Roswell and Chaves County, the elected bodies of both entities, the managers, and a special shout out to Mike Matthews, Deputy City Manager, did a lot of work. Karen Sanders with Emergency Management. But we would not be here today if Mayor Tim Jennings wasn't part of this. And, he and I spent an awful lot of time together, but so did the other counselors.
Sure.
But without that partnership and the relationship we have at the state level to secure funding to support the infrastructure build out, we would not have had a successful race as we had the very first race.
In a state where politics don't always work well together, this project was definitely a bipartisan, unilateral, Republicans, Democrats, all wanted this to happen, and we were blessed for that. And like you said, the city, the county, they're working well together to get, resources a little farther than that, because the impact of the Air Center and what this all brings, all of southeast New Mexico is impacted positively on this. So,
and I have to give a personal shout out. I've got the best staff at that airport. They work way beyond what they're required to do, and they really step up. And right now they're sweeping, getting ready for that F-16.
Absolutely. Well, and right now, and it's kind of, as like you said, there's growing and new things going. It's kind of it's starting to evolve to feel like every time I go in there before, it's like the hometown Mayberry Airport. You walk in, you're almost like, hey, Bob, how you doing? It's that mindset. And now it's kind of the best of both worlds. We still have the Mayberry feel, but it's got the amenities of like a real airport. Like you want to go there and you're like, oh yeah, we actually have that place, a place to eat. Yes. Place to, get a rent a car. Yeah, we got all that. You know what I mean? Things that a real airport has. And so it really is kind of evolving into our own professional, you know what I mean? That I love that. So it's, it's great to, and now with the fact United's going to be joining into the fold here as adding flights, and who knows what other ones we might be adding here over the years here. Certainly, if not more airlines, more connections to cities and things like that. And who knows, we might have, all the, never know, maybe Southwest will show up here at one point, and then we'll have pretty much all the major air carriers with a hub here. So that'll be great.
Well, we're very fortunate to have Bobby Thompson as airport director, with her experience with the air racing and with aviation. I mean, she's young at heart, and she works really, really diligently to help us grow and be a better institution. And we're thankful to have a director with her skill.
Absolutely. Well,
here in Roswell.
Well, I imagine she's experienced enough where she's like, I know when to be delicate, but then if I need to bull China shop a situation, I got a feeling Bobby's like, no problem. We can do that too. And that's where the trick is, to know when to, the gambler, know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away or run. That's the true expert there. Is know when. You got to have all the tools, but I know when's the right time to use it.
That's right.
And we do appreciate that here. And obviously, Mike, what you and what your team are doing to, there's up and down this town. There's new growth, new businesses, opportunities, new things popping in and out. It's constantly adding here, and I know you have a hand in every one of that. So we do appreciate that too. But come on out, and then of course, please go to airrace.org's website to start reading. As like I said, these dates are going to be, which means ticket sales and all that won't be far behind it here. So start locking in on that. Please go check out the Air Center if you haven't been there in a while. Come today. Come and see the thing. Come have lunch. Maybe hang around and check out the Aviation Museum while you're there. They usually work around the flying schedule out there, which now that we got another flyer in coming in, they're going to need some more volunteers out there too to hold the fort down out there. And of course, I guess can they? Are we at the point where they can start booking United flights, or is that?
Oh yeah, they're booking them right now.
All right, so book away if you're going to plan your trip to Denver and to beyond from there. Go and put it this way: this is a perfect time of year. Because Denver's got snow, and it's like, I don't want to drive to that. And they're dealing with it. Denver, they're used to dealing with snow. They know how to deal with all this stuff, even the airplanes. Is there any information, Bobby or Mike, we missed? Anything we wanted to cover?
Well, just the important dates. The restaurant opens 2/11. February 11th. The United flights start February 17th.
That's right.
And the races are September 16th.
That's right. So February booking into the love is food and flights with love in between.
And we can always use a lot more volunteers, too. We had a lot of volunteers out there. And
now's the time to start signing up to be a volunteer for this year's air races and things. And put it this way, all the cool stuff you saw last time was thanks to the volunteer effort to move those mountains. So they're going to need another army of volunteers to make sure. So if you loved doing it last year, please come back out here. If you didn't do it last year and kind of felt like, oh man, I should have done that, well, come on down. And
we have civic clubs, we have churches, we have the Scouts, we have a number of agencies that are part of it, and everyone's welcome.
And there's perks too. You get to, when you're not working your shift, you get to go out and be part, see all the planes, and watch the races. And
when you volunteer, you get free race tickets.
And you get free race. Yeah, you get in for free. So there is some perks out there. There is. Membership has its privileges there.
And we appreciate your participation.
Anytime. We love doing it and everything else.
Thank you so much.
Anytime, Bobby, we want to get on just to give folks an update on what's going on at the Air Center. Come on down. And,
Thank you.
Any more Elvis planes hiding out in the weeds out there?
Well, we just have to watch and make sure that we don't have a green pilot race coming up.
That's true. Yeah, we don't want that. I think I'm going to take off that weekend. It's a good time to not be it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And I'm sure you guys got to book it out to the Air Center and get ready here. So we'll see you guys down the road here. All right.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Anytime. It is 8:56. Let's pause for news and a quick break. Well, before more news, don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell claims the central bank's independence is threatened by President Trump. Powell says the Fed has been served with subpoenas and is threatened with a criminal indictment. It stems from his congressional testimony given last June. The death toll in Iran has soared to more than 540, this amid nationwide anti-government demonstrations threatening the theocracy with collapse. President Trump, who has threatened U.S. intervention to halt the bloodshed, says that Iran is now seeking negotiations with the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says hundreds more federal agents will be deployed to Minneapolis and surrounding areas in the midst of the ongoing anti-ICE demonstrations. On Wall Street, the Dow is down about 190 points. The Nasdaq trading 8 points in the red. More details, srnnews.com.
Hey, Roswell, New Year's resolutions are tough. Eat better, exercise more, remember where you parked. So how about one you'll actually keep? Drive something you'll love from Roswell Ford. Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford fast, fun, and easy. Right now, during the loan and lease termination event at Roswell Ford, we'll do whatever it takes to get you released from your loan or lease, even if you owe thousands more than your car, truck, or SUV is worth, so you can get massive savings on a great selection of new Fords and quality pre-owned vehicles. Buy now with zero down and make no payments until Easter. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Roswell Ford has partnered with more aggressive lenders that will push to approve your credit with great rates and terms, even if your credit is less than perfect. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. All roads lead to huge American-made savings. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com.
Interest accrues from date of sale, subject to lender approval. Offers not combined on select vehicles.
Artesia General Hospital presents healthy living tips for the fall and winter seasons. As the days get shorter and the temperatures drop, keeping your family healthy takes a little extra planning. Start with the basics. Wash your hands often, especially after being out in public. And don't forget your flu shot. It's one of the best ways to prevent serious illness during fall and winter. Holiday gatherings are coming too. Enjoy the season without overdoing it. Choose vegetables and lean proteins first, then savor those festive treats in moderation. And with heaters running around the clock, your skin can dry out fast. Use a good moisturizer, drink lots of water, and consider adding a humidifier at home to keep everyone comfortable. Simple habits can make a big difference. These healthy living reminders are brought to you by Artesia General Hospital, ready to help take care of you and your family.
Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character. When asked for comment, Buzz Lightyear responded, "To infinity and beyond." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. Closing in on 8:59. Stay tuned next hour. Here about 9:15 or so. John LeMay going to join us, author and Historical Society member. He's going to come on and join us to talk about his latest book. And I was seeing it online over the weekend, and I think he's going historical fiction, which is a little out of his norm. He's he does his Godzilla history stuff, and obviously does his our New Mexico history in there. But I think his latest book is a Billy the Kid historical work of fiction. So it's fiction with a lot of history around it, which is some of my favorite types of books. But anyway, John will join us next hour, and we'll talk all that in the historical side as well. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Town Hall News is up next. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mitch Thomason. Homeland Security Secretary Noem says hundreds more federal agents are being deployed to Minneapolis and vicinity in the midst of big anti-ICE protests. The demonstrations ramped up following the fatal shooting of an anti-ICE protester last week. President Trump says video shows Renee Good weaponized her vehicle at the time she was shot.
You can't be treating law enforcement that way, whether it's ICE or Border Patrol or our police and men and women. You can't do that.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, whose interest rate policy has rankled President Trump, says he's now facing a criminal indictment from the Department of Justice.
Powell issued a video statement about the central bank being served with subpoenas and facing threats from the Trump administration. The subpoena relates to Powell's congressional testimony last June, but the Fed chair said it's about something else.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Powell warned that the Fed's independence is at stake and that he will continue to serve in the face of political intimidation. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Thousands of nurses have gone on strike at several major private New York City hospitals, Mount Sinai, New York Presbyterian, and Montefiore. Mount Sinai West nurse Dinesh Forbes.
The big bosses at Mount Sinai has refused to give us health care over their profit. They want to slash it. They won't come to the table and talk about it. They just want us to hand it over to them, and it can't work. How can we as nurses be inside taking care of patients when we don't have health care? We need to have good health care so we stay strong.
The walkout comes as the flu has been sending lots of people to the hospital. The Dow down 144. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
International Court of Justice will consider serious allegations lodged against Myanmar's military rulers.
The Gambia alleges that Myanmar breached its obligations under the Genocide Convention during a military crackdown in 2017 against its Rohingya population. It was carried out by Myanmar's armed forces alongside Buddhist militias. A United Nations fact-finding mission the following year concluded that the military campaign involved genocidal acts, citing widespread killings, sexual violence, and the systematic destruction of Rohingya villages. Myanmar has consistently denied allegations of genocide. This is the first genocide case to be heard on its merits by the ICJ in more than a decade.
The BBC's Anna Holligan. A Hong Kong court is hearing arguments about the sentence for pro-democracy media founder Jimmy Lai and his co-defendants in a landmark national security case. Their convictions under a national security law could lead to life in prison. News and analysis, townhall.com. When it comes to revitalizing Venezuela's energy infrastructure, ExxonMobil may find itself on the outside looking in. President Trump says he is inclined to exclude ExxonMobil from the group of American oil companies called on to do the work and share the profits.
Mr. Trump's statement comes after ExxonMobil's top executive voiced skepticism over oil investment efforts in Venezuela after the toppling of dictator Nicolas Maduro. Speaking on Air Force One, President Trump told reporters that he didn't like Exxon's response. During a Friday meeting with oil executives, President Trump tried to assuage the concerns of the oil company.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is visiting China this week to mend relations with the world's second largest economy. First visit by a Canadian leader in 8 years. Carney aims to double non-U.S. exports over the next decade. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel witch and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Hope your Monday is going just swell. A little chilly out there, still in the 20s, but
yeah.
Or allegedly supposed to warm up to the mid-50s.
Nice.
And could see some 60s later this week.
I'll take it. After the cold that was this weekend, it was it's tough to get out and do much anything.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah, it was just if you didn't really want, and then I guess if you love skiing and stuff though. I mean, this is your time of year. I skied some when I was a teenager. I really haven't as an adult, and I just I like skiing. I didn't love skiing.
I can't get on any device that moves you forward at a relatively quick rate of speed without immediately losing my balance, flying with my feet up in the air and landing on my butt. It just, I don't have it in me.
Well,
I have it for a long time.
And of the two, I'd rather ski than snowboard. Like, I feel like I have way more control on skis than I do snowboard.
Honestly, I feel like if I was able to do both, I would rather snowboard. I feel like that would be, just because of the amount of control I've seen with like the braking and like I don't feel like I could use both skis to simultaneously do that side slide stop thing, you know?
It's not that hard.
But a snowboard, I feel like I could put both my feet down and kind of like lean back. I think that I wouldn't have a problem with.
Well, and to be honest, that's where my hockey training kicked in. Where like doing the stop, that's all hockey stop.
Yeah.
That's basically a hockey stop on figure skates. Or not on hockey skates, but on ice skates. When they do the ski, that's kind of what a hockey stop is.
Right. But my thought is there's a good potential that I'm not going to be able to stop and I'm going to fly forward. So my theory is, would I rather fly forward sideways or front ways? Because if I'm on a snowboard, I'm going to tumble.
Yeah.
If I'm on skis, I'm going to have to cartwheel down this hill. And I don't think I've got that kind of ability.
If you try to do the hockey stop, your weight will shift. So what ultimately you're going to do is you're just going to fall on your side this way. You're probably not going to go tumbleweed. The only time you do that is if you're trying to snow plow, which is a way to slow you down. It's not really a way to stop. Especially if you're on a bunny slope, you can stop. But if you're on a hill, snow plowing will slow you down. But that's where you basically turn your skis inward and you kind of use it to slow your velocity down.
Right.
But on a lot of hills, that's not going to slow you down fast enough. And so it's comfort once you do it this is why you go down the bunny slope and learn. And to be honest, if I got on skis today, I'm sure I'd be falling all over the place. But because I was a teenager the last time I got on a pair. But and I was proficient. Like I ain't skiing down no black diamonds or nothing. But I could handle the other stuff, and I could ski down something other than the Blenny Slope and be just fine.
It always blows my mind when I see those people doing like those extreme, like skiing in places or snowboarding in places that they don't have a lift.
Yeah.
Like where you have to walk up the whole
For the
mountain
video,
just to get the GoPro
like
video
those guys you see like skiing ahead of an avalanche. You ever see those?
Yeah.
They're literally like whatever they did, and they're racing down the mountain, and there's like this wall of snow like 100 feet behind them.
That's like the closest thing that snowboarders or skiers can get to riding the barrel in surfing.
Yeah, like in the
that
pipeline.
feeling of like being in an active event and riding it. I think that's so like I wonder if those guys like start 10, 20 feet and then like honk an air horn or something to trigger an avalanche.
I have no idea. And I imagine you've got to go to pretty remote mountain ranges to achieve that. You can't just show up at any old ski lodge because they prepare for those.
Yeah.
And I would guess I don't even know if you could do it. Maybe in the Rockies. I imagine some remotes, but I imagine most of those are not in the United States. They're some other.
So see, here's what skiing and snowboarding have kind of like they've reached their peak. I feel like of like this is what we can do, except with golf you've got Top Golf with different sports you've got the machines that kind of add to it. Some advantageous like ski slope owner should create a machine that shoots snow out of it to cause an avalanche and have a simulated avalanche hill.
Like a wave
pool.
Like on the cruise ships or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. It's like we'll simulate an avalanche for you to ride your way down.
I feel like there's probably something out there. I imagine like Olympic skiers have some weird training thing that they can do something like that with, I'm guessing. Because
trigger avalanche mode.
Not related, but sort of related is I watched that F1 movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
It's been on Apple Plus for a couple months, for a month or so now. I finally watched it over the weekend. It's an all right movie. It was what I expected it was. It was good. Is it amazing? No, it's basically, to be honest, it's kind of like Days of Thunder, but with European accents. I mean, it kind of is. It's very, where Brad Pitt is the Tom Cruise rebel with the loose cannon type. He's actually the guy that was like an up and comer that blew his deal 30 years ago, and now he's been racing just anything, beach cars, whatever, and then he's back to, it's that typical hot shot type.
I was gonna say it started just like Hot Shots, like he's out of the game, and now he's living on an Indian
It's a
range.
modern version of that. It really is. But it's entertaining and it's neat. But the part that I kind of liked about it was they show all the high techy stuff that Formula One, like these simulators and things that these guys. Like if you ever watched that movie that's about the kids that basically are Formula One racers that never raced a car. They just learned through video games.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, Okay. It's very much because the simulators and things and these guys, where Brad Pitt comes in and he's like old school, like these guys are in these. And I mean, it's such that typical thing where like all the guys are doing their weird trainings and stuff, and he's running like out on pavement. All these guys have these machines to stretch their necks, and because that's kind of a big deal with Formula One guys. Their training and stuff is kind of like fighter pilot training.
Right.
They gotta sustain their bodies to handle crazy amounts of G-force. And so they do a lot of exercises pushing on their necks to keep so they can build up the tolerance and all. So it's a Formula One racer is very jacked. I mean, not jacked like muscle bound meathead jacked, but very strong. Very a
lot of core strength.
Yeah, that is an athletic sport. I don't care what anybody says. If you're driving at speeds of 200 miles an hour in a car, that's gonna, and especially those Formula One guys where they really hairpin turns. And it's not
one slightly wrong move. You're toast.
They're not running around just making left turns the whole time.
That being said, I've seen more than my fair share of something going wrong, and just the way that those vehicles completely just blow. And I know that's for the safety of it, the carbon fiber of it all, but just the way that those cars absolutely explode is insane. It's just like 1,000 pieces, and then there's a capsule over there.
And plus, like the Formula One guys, they race in all the weather. It's raining, they don't care. They race. So, but it's a good movie. I highly recommend it. I was entertained by it. It's a long movie. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's a long movie.
I'm not crazy. Here's the problem with me on that movie. I'm not crazy about the actors in it or the sport itself.
Well, there's only 2 actors I recognize.
Yeah.
One's Brad Pitt. The other is Javier Bardem, whatever his name is.
Javier Bardem, yeah.
Yeah, him. The other people I didn't know.
I've just never really had the appeal. A Brad Pitt movie. Let's go see that.
I've never been. Although certain movies I do like a Brad Pitt.
Sure, he's not bad. I just don't go seeking it out.
Like we grew up in the time of like when he was a sexy heartthrob and he did like Meet Joe Black and so those movies. But that Once Upon a Time or the one where the Manson family one, that movie that he's in, that's a good movie. I liked World War Z. I don't care what anybody said.
World War Z was pretty good.
I was entertained by that movie. And this F1 movie's good. And I liked Seven. That was a good Brad Pitt
Seven
movie.
was good. Mr. and Mrs. Smith also.
I've never watched that one.
That's an entertaining movie.
Angelina Jolie's a bit much for me.
Yeah, she's like you're Brad Pitt to me. But that was an entertaining movie. I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
So, I think,
one thing real quick that I thought was funny. This kind of reminded me of it. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They have offices across from each other at the agency that they run.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of Ben Affleck's office is the Batman suit. Is a mannequin wearing the Batman suit.
Right.
And outside of Matt Damon's office, right across the hall, is the Martian suit, the suit from the Martian. I saw Kevin Smith over the weekend was walking down the hall. He's like, "Isn't that just freaking adorable?"
Speaking of Kevin Smith, you know, would have made me happier if they're both having their angel wings.
Oh yeah,
from Dogma. Which I hear tell you're going to be able to get that if you can already somewhere, someplace.
Either on demand or they're going to re-release it, physical copies of it.
Yeah. Well, aren't they redigitizing or something?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they adding content? Is like
I
lost
don't
scenes
think
or
so.
anything,
I
or
think
is it just?
It's just the theatrical release. Yeah.
And you forget how many famous people are in that movie.
I watched the trailer and you're like, that's right. Oh my God.
Who's who of famous?
Yeah.
Chris Rock, George Carlin, Alanis Morissette, Snape.
Yeah, that was the one that I completely forgot. I'm like, oh, that's right. Alan Rickman's in this.
Yeah,
huh?
Rickman's in it. And I'm just touching the iceberg. And obviously the usual cast of I mean, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They're A-list actors. They were in this one too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, literally every role is an A-list actor or someone famous.
Did you ever hear the Jason Mewes story behind that? So they were ready to recast Jay.
Oh, really?
They were going to cast like Seth Green was in the running to be the new Jay. But Kevin Smith said, "I'm not doing this without Jay."
Yeah.
And then went to Jay and said, "This is serious. They're putting Hollywood money behind
act
it.
like a real actor.
Alan Rickman's involved.
Yeah.
So you need to be on your game." So not only did Jay learn all of his lines memorized, he memorized the entire script. He was like, people were like lying, and he was helping him out with their lines.
Nice. Hey,
yeah.
That's one way. You help out Damon with a line, you get a job, man. John LeMay, I believe, is here. I heard doors opening and closing. He's going to join us, talk about his latest book, and, of course, anything at the Historical Society, give us an update there. And we'll chit-chat with John here in just a few minutes. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong high-pressure system covering all of the southwestern states. We're hitting the mid-50s on the afternoon high today. Lots of sunshine. Pretty cold overnight. We'll drop into the low 20s with a few clouds, and then we warm up a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're expecting sunshine both days. Highs in the low 60s. We're in the upper 60s and sunny on Thursday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 31 degrees here in Roswell. Hey, we're in the 30s now. Humidity is at 38%. Winds are calm at the moment. We're expected to hit mid-50s. Sunny and 56 today. Winds are going to be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. After the breezes earlier in the weekend, 5 sounds pretty good to me. Tonight, mostly clear. Another chilly one overnight, low of 24. Winds will be calm. Tuesday, we're in the low 60s tomorrow. Sunny, 63 for a high. Northeast winds at around 5 miles per hour. Tuesday night, clear. Overnight low of 31. So we're going to be just under freezing Tuesday night. That's compared to, I think one of our lowest overnights over the weekend was like 17. So 31 is going to be a big difference there. Southwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny and 61. North winds 5 to 10. Thursday will be sunny and 67. Friday, it dips back down into the 50s. Now they're saying 58 for a high on Friday. And then looking at the weekend, 62 and sunny on Saturday, 61 and sunny on Sunday. So looks like we'll be floating right around 60. Like I said, Friday we'll dip into the upper 50s. But more normal New Mexico winter-like temps right now for us. All right, it is 19 minutes after 9. We're going to take a quick 1.5-minute break. And then John LeMay will join us here talking about his latest book and a little historical society stuff, too. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Get ready for the funnest night of the year in Artesia. The Artesia Arts Council presents the second annual Dueling Pianos fundraiser featuring Killer Keys. It's an all-request, high-energy battle of the pianos where you pick the playlist. Join us Thursday, January 29th at the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center for a night of comedy and music that supports art education and cultural programming right here in our community. Tickets are limited. Reserve your seat now at artesiaartscouncil.com. That's artesiaartscouncil.com. See you at the show.
This is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture, and I'm here to tell you watching the game from a sorry recliner is not how life should be enjoyed. You could have a power recliner with an adjustable headrest in your favorite spot right now. American built and a solid guarantee are the reasons we stand behind our recliners, and you can be confident in the service we provide. So pull your backsides from that old chair and cheer for your team in style. Come down and see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
Are you still dealing with that toothache? Or are those wisdom teeth bothering you? This is Dr. Sarah Usher at Carabelli Dental, and we've got you covered. From root canals and implants to crowns and dentures, we have advanced treatment options for you. Our team is focused on every detail to give you a personalized and professional experience. Discover dental care that's comfortable, modern, and made just for you. Come visit us at Carabelli Dental, where your best smile begins here.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455.
Your fingernails grow faster on your dominant hand. Not sure which is your dominant hand? Just wait. You'll nail it. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, author John LeMay back with us. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Mike. Yeah, I was just drinking my coffee this morning at about 8 o'clock, and it hit me. It was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be on the radio today. I should get ready.
Well, better at 8 o'clock than 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Of course, folks not familiar, John, of course, joined us all many times as an author. He also, he's very much part of the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico, serving as one of the volunteers on the board there. So kind of, his day job kind of interconnects there a little bit here. But, of course, we got a couple books to talk about. Your newest book is actually a work of fiction here, which is a little off your normal path of books and things here. Now, don't be scared. It stays right in the historical thing.
Yeah.
Be honest, my favorite books, really, the ones I get the most enjoyment out are historical fictions. Books that are not true of the story, but they're all based in historical events or...
Yeah.
Like for instance, Michael Shahara and his son, they did the Killer Angels book, and which ultimately became the Gettysburg movie and Gods and Generals. Those are fiction, and the reason they're fiction is because he kind of assumes the dialogue between the generals and things. And now all of it's based on letters, and so they think they've got the personality, but they don't know for sure. I mean, so the events they're talking about, the parts of the battle all happen, but when the generals are sitting around the campfire having their conversations, that's the artistic license part of it. Now they kind of use history to base, and I imagine this is kind of what you do on your is based off letters, based off things. You kind of know their personality, and you kind of write the character based on what the letters of their personality kind of dictated here. So, but before we get to that book, let's talk about the other book right now. And this one, you got to remind me because he writes so many books. I'm like, which one are we talking?
Okay, so it's part of Arcadia's Images of America history, which people are familiar with. They always have the sepia tinted cover. They're chock full of images. So this one's title is Rural Roswell and South Springs Ranch.
Okay, so this one's got some real old Roswell history photos.
Yeah,
long before most of us here. Maybe some people with some family roots in town might have some ancestors there, but for the most part, long before most of us ever called this place.
Yeah, it was another case of just being in the archives all the time. I saw how many images we had pertaining to John Chisholm and his ranch, but back in the 1870s, Chisholm unofficially owned everything from basically Carlsbad to Fort Sumner.
He was our cattle baron, basically.
Yeah, that's what Cattle Baron, the restaurant, is really named after. I don't know if people get the connection, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he was, and to be honest, that's why anytime there's a movie or anything that's generally involved Lincoln County or Billy the Kid, Chisholm's in the footnote in that story. Even things as much as like the Young Guns movies, which are, entertaining, but more entertainment than history. Chisholm's all over that. I mean, he's even makes appearances in that, or his character does anyway. And to be honest, they've portrayed him different. Like I've seen more where they portray him like he's more human, more.
Yeah.
But I've also they paint him where he's more of a cutthroat businessman too. And I imagine somewhere in the middle lies the truth on how Chisholm was,
Yeah, well, and John Wayne portrayed him, and he really wasn't like John Wayne because he never carried a gun, and he liked to hire men to fight for him. Typically.
Well, and then Charlton Heston played him in the Young Guns movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it was Charlton Heston that played Chisholm in the brief cameo that would have been in. But in that version, they kind of make him out like he's a friend of Billy's and worked with Billy. And I'm going to take a guess that they knew each other, but I don't know if they were buddies like the way they portray in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's like today's politics. Billy and Chisholm were on the same side, and then they were on the opposite side and became enemies.
Yeah. Well, and it's no different than if you look at our own U.S. history and you look at our founding fathers. Yes, when they were creating the Declaration of Independence and forming the nation, they agreed but disagreed on certain things. But once they became our presidents and senators and congressmen, that's when the party started, and there was real ideological differences between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and things like that. And it's no different here, where we all think of this one moment in time where they're all kumbaya, and it's like, well, there was a lot leading up to that and a lot going on after that. So, but and it's very much the case with Billy the Kid, and certainly Chisholm and New Mexico.
Yeah, and this is definitely a Chisholm book. Billy doesn't figure much into it because Chisholm is Roswell's real claim in the Lincoln County War, and again, got a lot of images of just Chisholm's ranch, also when Hagerman owned it in the 1890s. So it's, and we've also got East Grand Plains in there because Chisholm kind of laid claim to that.
Okay.
Got the old Pecos River Bridge in here. So there's a lot of different stuff in the book, but Chisholm and his properties are the main through line.
Sure. Just she was curious, and this is where, know my own backyard would be a little bit better, but how much of the Chisholm, like, is there any of that structures, any of the Chisholm Empire still around if you go digging around?
No, and I wrote an article about that recently for the Wild West History Association Journal, and it's also in this book. But so John Chisholm had this famous longhouse that was renowned across the West. That's where you'd stop and get a meal and
kind of like a halfway house type deal where you come and water and feed and everybody else.
And it was totally legendary. And what happened, and I can sympathize, is J.J. Hagerman bought the ranch. And he was really busy. He was building a railroad. He was building a dam in Carlsbad. He had a million things going on at once, and he just bought this big ranch. And he sent somebody out to inspect the old properties to, see, is there one I could live in right now?
Okay.
And the guy was like, no, this one, the walls are crumbling, and it's in really bad shape. And Hagerman wasn't thinking about it. He just said, well, tear it down then. He was so busy he didn't think, oh, that is the house.
The historical.
That should have been a monument.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hindsight 2020. And to be honest, people aren't thinking of their annals of history. They're thinking practicality and how do I move the needle right now? They're not thinking someday we're going to want to know about Chisholm, and this house is going to be integral in that, know. Yeah, it's which kind of goes back to the historical side in the J.P. White House, and shows the importance and the significance of that home. To see there's not a lot of homes in this area that are from that era, and it is a real glimpse of life at the turn of the century.
Yeah, and I got the J.P. White ranching family in the book as well, because they were kind of like successors to Chisholm. They filled the power vacuum,
like the next generation or whatever, to take over things.
Nephew,
which kind of, I guess, with Hagerman, he was when Chisholm, his reign kind of ended, and then the Hagermans kind of took over. And I imagine what happened was it was more of a fractured thing after that, where everyone had a little piece of what was the Chisholm Empire here, and Hagerman probably had a bigger piece, and then some of these other folks had smaller pieces, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, from what I understand, it was like mismanagement on the part of Sally Chisholm Robert's husband. He was in charge of the bookkeeping and didn't do a good job, and then the ranch just totally slipped out of the family's hands and fell into the bank, and then Hagerman bought it from them.
Well, and that's kind of what I would guess, too. It's like when the matriarch starts sliding, that's when you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I imagine once he was getting older and his health was going down and he couldn't be there day to day, and some of the other family was taking over, that's when, it's that thing, your siblings don't always run it the way you ran it.
Well, and historically, what's interesting, the member of the Chisholm family who made out the best when the ranch fell away was Frank Chisholm, which was Chisholm's adopted African-American, son, some people say. But he was smart enough that he didn't tie his cattle into the family's cattle. He kept it. And so therefore, when the bank took possession of the ranch, Frank got to keep all his cattle, and he did pretty well.
So he had basically a nest egg to ride
compared to Sally, the niece, who didn't do so well.
Gotcha.
It's just interesting.
Just curious, is there any Chisholm family ties still calling this part of the area home? Or are they all
I believe most of them are in Texas, so it would have to be Sally Chisholm Robert's kids, and I don't remember where they ended up.
Okay, I didn't know if any Chisholms were still living in
And
in
John
Mexico.
Chisholm never had legitimate heirs. He had children with a servant back in Texas.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so he never married.
His family bloodline's a little muddy.
Yeah.
Sign of the times here and things like that. So interesting. And let's face it, you're a New Mexico rancher and things. Life's a little different than someone who lives in the city, and it's frontier lifestyle out here, even for rich people.
Yeah.
So, so your book kind of really goes into the kind of some of that history and some of the and then obviously, what photos and things of what, and that's just it. Like you said, because a lot of these places are long lost to history, just time, weather, people, things change. This is really some of the last proof of what what we knew of what he had and what he did and what life was like during that time period.
Yeah, because I don't like to beat a dead horse, and this has a lot of really rare unseen images and minutia about Chisholm's properties that haven't been done to death already.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, people who are really interested in Lincoln County War and Billy and all that, they'll find stuff they didn't know, hopefully, and images they haven't seen before.
It's probably maybe fill some holes or voids that maybe you have, or well, what about this? This might kind of, that explains how that came to be and all that.
And I wanted this out by Christmas because I'm a realist. I'm a numbers person.
Sure.
I didn't see this selling off season that well, so I talked to the publisher. When do I turn this into you to get this out in time for Christmas? They told me I did. For whatever reason, they didn't put it out until this week.
Gotta love it. The best laid plans always get changed.
Because this is a book you buy for Grandpa or whoever.
It's a niche audience. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
But that being said, it's out now.
It's here now. We got our copy.
And and to be honest, I would argue if you just love local history or this would be a great book to just. And the good news is it's a light book to thinner. It's not not a lot of time invested to read unless you're just. And so hopefully maybe it'll whet your appetite into some other John stuff. So if you use this as a first kind of entry into the history a little bit, you'll get some of the backstory. And then when you learn some of the main story, you'll already have those connections already filled in and some of that stuff. So.
Yeah, and it's this 50-50 royalty split. So like if you were someone who doesn't live here and you bought it off Amazon, the society would get part of the royalty and I get part of it. But it's always still better to buy it from the museum if you do live here in Roswell. And then there's some other businesses who might stock it. I can't say for sure, but hopefully Roswell Livestock, it would fit there.
Yeah, sometimes I'll see it in like a bookstore or something, and you'll see like I imagine they should stick that out of Bitter Lake and all the gift shops. And everything.
Does Bitter Lakes have a gift shop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a good one. They have a nice one out there.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they have obviously a lot of it's more scientific books, but there's a lot of human history out there too. And I think some of this, I would imagine, because that's the reason it's called Bitter Lake. The cattle, they were driving the cattle through here, and that water, was bitter, and it was that's very much part of the cattle industry is that refuge there.
And
too.
I do have it in there in the form of Lost River, which predated Bitter Lakes, and the town fathers dynamited it in the 1920s because people were falling into the cave and. Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Lost River was a cave like an underground river cave. And, yeah.
Gotcha. And that's kind of basically because this is what makes Southeast, this part Roswell go is we have these underwater aquifers and we have the hardest water on the planet, but thank goodness there's plenty of it. That's kind of and we have had some excellent stewards of our water over the year to make sure that our water, and that's, to be honest, this is why you don't see, like, you turn on the news in the Albuquerque, they got their water restriction days and the water of this day and all that, and they got to do witty cartoons. Roswell, now granted, don't be watering like water's just going out of style here, but we've never had, as long as I've been here, I've never heard you can only water on Wednesdays or do any of that stuff, because our water is pretty. Now, granted, water softener ain't got but 3 years in our water because it's so dang hard that it's going to tear those up. But we are blessed that way, and I imagine that also set the table for a lot of the cattle stuff and the wars and what we're going. Yes, the wars are over, but it's always about water, and it's always about water.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that, I used because Morgan Nelson was the big water expert, and I used a lot of his papers for this book because I wanted Morgan to be in it and Elvis Fleming to be in it, even though they're no longer with us, and Peggy Stokes. So the book has a lot of writings from deceased writers.
So it's a collaborative, truly it's like a generational collaborative effort, like where you've taken some of Elvis and these guys' studies and things and able to incorporate that with some of the, and so it gives you a bigger, complete picture of just what life was like around here, from things that Elvis and these folks shared with us, but things we've learned since then too about that. And that's the unique thing about most of this history. It's Wild West history. And whereas always history, there's going to be stories and things. You look at like the Civil War. Every general wrote a memoir, a book about it, based on their side. Confederate ones, the Union, and you hear all kinds of opinions and things about there. A lot of it hasn't survived the test of time. But if just for instance, I remember James Longstreet, Confederate general. He had one of the more scandalous books that came out after the Civil War and things like that and stuff. But anyway, that some of that history dies away, and this kind of, and so you deal with a lot of that stuff. That's your world where they get, and so accounts tend to, with wildest history, and plus you had the dime store. The Wild West was really the country soap opera. When you didn't, if you didn't, you lived back east in New York and Boston and these places. They're reading dime store novels about the adventures of Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett and you name it, all these guys, Jesse James, Frank, all the notorious outlaws we know of the period, the Robin Hood types and everything else. And unfortunately, their true stories they may follow some of the past of these things, aren't nearly as romantic and glamorous and the gun battles and things of which they depict aren't necessarily, like I'm sure Billy the Kid was very, very proficient with a weapon, but a lot of the stuff they say is probably the story of the dime store novel. And so as a historian, as an author like you have to sift through all that. And so that's why I love your books, because you kind of do that work for us. If you love the dime store stuff and you're like, I remember Billy the Kid took on him.
I guess how
you can thank Ash Upton for that one.
Well, how I get away with it is I never try to push what I think happened and my theory. I just say this person said this, and that's that.
This is the evidence we have.
It's true.
Believe it or not believe it.
That's what they said.
This is a letter from so and so, and now granted, it's with the human emotion of this time. So I gotta, transitioning here. Your latest book, what's the title? This one's a Billy the Kid historical fiction.
Yeah, it's a novel. It's a pretty breathlessly long title. It's Billy the Kid and the Ballad of the Boy Bandit King.
Nice,
because that's what they called him, the Boy Bandit King.
And so this is probably the fun thing, because you get to take all the historical information you know, but then you get to put your own poetic license on it. You can. But I imagine this one probably, as far as the life, it probably follows it pretty close.
Not at all.
It's completely okay.
So
I thought maybe you took history and you just kind of took the emotional part and created your own.
Well, what I did is I said it, after Billy escaped the courthouse in April of 1881, nobody knew exactly where he was until Pat Garrett shot him 3 months later.
So it's a lump
in
of
July.
time where he goes MIA.
Yeah, so it's set then, and none of what he does in the book could have possibly happened, but it's just a fun adventure story. It's done in the style of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
Okay.
And that's
for more modern things, think of it as how Stranger Things ended for folks out here. Did you watch that?
Oh yeah.
You know how they kind of give you a what if scenario at the end there. Think of it in those kind of terms. Yeah. But so this kind of takes place right that, like you said, before the hunt by Pat Garrett, but right after the escape, basically, where he shoots the two, and we learn about his notoriously small wrists or hands, or a big wrist, little hands, or whatever it is. Whatever it is, he escaped.
That's a running joke throughout the book too. Is he's really sensitive about people making fun of him for small hands. But no, it's so there was a whole genre back pertaining to Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and the genre, if you read it, it looks like it says picturesque novel, but it's picaresque.
Okay.
And it just meant it was a subgenre about a hero of low social class and low social standing, which fits Billy, and they go on episodic adventures.
Sure.
And so it's same.
So
sort
it's basically
of thing.
the underdog hero story. Is a fancy way to say that.
And like Mark Twain, he had the Duke and the King, the Shakespeare performers. I kind of do my own version of that with Ash Upson. He's a character in the book.
Okay. Which if you don't, he's got another book on Ash if you want to.
Yeah.
But when I was getting back to he was one of the chronologicals of the West here, and much of Billy the Kid and the things we know, both the craziness to the factual, Ash's recounting of a lot of that is. I always joke because if you ever watch Young Guns 2, there's a guy that's following him around, and he ends up he's kind of a mouth, which I don't think Ash in real life was like this guy. I think he was more like they made it sound like this guy's just some rube from the city that doesn't know Western life and all that. Ash.
Yeah, he would have known.
He could ride a horse. He could do all those things. And so they portray him as kind of a city slicker in that thing. But he ends up saving the day when they come up on an Indian burial ground, and that almost gets him killed. And all of a sudden he can speak Navajo or whatever they were doing. But anyway, that's the one movie I know that Ash Upson makes because I remember we talked all about it when about 2 years ago or so when your Ash book came out.
Yeah.
So, but the Billy the Kid, is that one available now, or is it still like on its way here?
If you want one, I'd say just get that one on Amazon. But eventually we'll stock it at the museum.
Okay.
But it'll probably be a little while.
But it sounds like this is a fun read. This is when you need a palate cleanser, and you're like, man, all this weighty stuff. I need a fun romp.
Yeah, it's just a fun adventure story. I don't know what you'd call this genre where you mix up different historical figures, but it's got Billy the Kid, Lozen, the Apache warrior woman. It's got Old Man Adams from the Lost Adams myth. It's got the Apache Kid. It's got Chisholm. It's got
all the players.
Yeah, Upson, all the players.
Nice, which will be fun. When you're reading it, you're like, oh, this is where Chisholm comes in, or oh, this is where Ash comes in, or oh, this is where I don't know some of the other Lincoln County players here. It's pretty. Oh, this is where Tunstall rolls in, or this is when Murphy, which by the way, and that history's of it. So like, I highly recommend if you've never done it, go to Lincoln, do the whole Lincoln then, and then get the dual pass to go to Fort Stanton as well, because to be honest, that's how Murphy got his. That's where he got his power, so to speak. Was he was in the military there at Stanton, and he was doing cattle and beef then, and he basically made himself a millionaire doing it in the civilian world, and that's kind of and then Tunstall, the outsider, came in trying to wheeze in on his gig, and Lincoln County War. That's kind of the ebb and flow it here. But so the book kind of is in the middle of again that part of the Lincoln County War, and so. Does the story end about the time where Pat Garrett's on his tail, or does it kind of?
Yeah. It ends on July 14th, 1881. And
So like I said, go to Amazon where you find all of John LeMay's books. You'll find that one here. But if you want to support the historical society a little bit more, give us a little more time, and you'll be able to get it through the historical society as well too. But I get it. If you got a hankering for the book and you can't wait, get it. I'm sure Amazon does their 2-day delivery and all that good stuff. And does any of your books available like the Kindles and all that? Can you?
Yeah, I think pretty much all of them.
Okay,
are.
So I imagine you can get even quicker if you got one of those. You can just download it and do all that. So, although I like those for the convenience of getting something quick, it's not as enjoyable to read it as it is like written in a book.
No, and everybody's eyes need rest from the screen, and
even the ones that look like paper white, like they're like I have one that looks supposed to like a page, but it's still. Which the only thing that's handy about that is at night, like I can use that to read, not turn on the lights and disturb anybody. So that's the one. But you're right, it hurts your eyes after a while, and there's something about turning a page. It's fun with the finger, but I like the bookmark I get from the library that I stick in there or whatever. It's just something about the thing of reading a book.
Yeah.
So, but this one you'll be able to get here, and of course, John's. How many books have you written now?
So
what's the total?
Ballad of the Boy Bandit King is number 60, and South Springs Ranch is 61.
Wow. So 61. Are you going to do something special when book 100 comes out?
I guess. I don't know.
The 100th book of John LeMay.
We'll see.
Yeah. Do you got 40 more books in you?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Which is, I imagine you probably, because I think we talked about this before, you kind of, you have ideas for books and things, so there's probably like 3 or 4 books that are kind of in various stages of written, maybe a chapter or 2, or maybe an idea's here, but you haven't fleshed it all out yet. Something like that. So I imagine you probably got 3 or 4 irons at any given time.
There's already books slated, like History Press. I love working with them, and I just did New Mexico Monsters for them, which is folkloric history about cryptids and monsters people used to think existed back in Spanish colonial times. So,
and those are part of a collaborative thing, right? Like you're not like there's other authors or other historians that are kind of contributing as well, and then I guess the company kind of edits and puts it together? Or?
I kind of decide who I work with. So for New Mexico Monsters, Chris Casey is the illustrator.
Okay.
So I'll get half, he'll get half, because his illustrations, I feel like.
So you're the one who kind of pitches that idea to, and they kind of, I got you. Okay, I didn't know if this was like something they said, hey, so we're writing a book on this, and John, you're an expert. Can you write a foreword or a chapter on this one, or contribute something? Okay, I didn't know if it.
And Donna and I are going to do Haunted White Sands together. That's already approved and slated for this summer.
So is there like stories of ghost naked sunbathers out there?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because that's a thing, I don't know what it is right now, a little cold, but I know there are a group of people, they like to go find a dune in the middle of nowhere and just get one with nature. Thought maybe one got in the sun too long and now roams the white sands. Got any sunscreen?
Yeah.
Very good. But again, we'll have to bring John back for his next time when that book's out here. So come get and then of course there's, like we said, go to the Historical Society's website, RoswellNMHistory.org, or go to his Amazon page, and you could see every one of those 61 books out there that, I don't think you can see all 61 in the Historical Society one, but you can see a bunch of them. Because believe it or not every single one of John's books about New Mexico history or Wild West history, he does have a equally rabid fan base for Godzilla lore and history too, as well. So you can easily see John on a UFO aliens podcast, a history podcast, a Godzilla podcast, and easily John slides in and out seamlessly in those those different groups and things too. So, which is kind of fun for you, I imagine. It gives you.
Yeah, I almost wish I would have just come up with different pen names for different genres, because sometimes that's actually easier for people.
I get what you're saying.
It's like they get confused.
Right. Well, yeah, and they'll pigeonhole you. You know, it's like, okay, I see, like, for instance, speaking of alternative history, Harry Turtledove is one of those authors from the 90s, and I think actually before that, where he wrote a bunch of, he started in the fantasy world, and I think he still has a big footprint in fantasy, but there in the 90s, he started writing these alternative history books. Like, one of my favorites is called Guns of the South, and the whole point of that book was, what if someone goes back in time, right, during the Civil War and equips the Confederate Army with AK-47s. and see how that outcome goes. And so he's done a couple World War I and II books like that. But I love those those kind of genre. And so when you said the Billy the Kid, that's what I think of as those kind of Harry Turtledove books, because I love taking real life history and giving you another story with it, an alternate story. So and I imagine that's your playland. That's your That's where you get to, no rules. Wait a minute.
Exactly,
History chides me to the story on this one. Here, I can take it anywhere I want.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun read, I think, for most people. If you want
thank you.
Good deal on that. It's something just fun to read that you don't, because I get it. I love history. As much as I love history, at some point you're just like, all right, this is a bit monotonous. I need to, only so many people can begat whom's to what's. I get.
Yeah.
But so what's next? What's after these here? What's probably the next one that you think is going to be hitting the shelves?
New Mexico Monsters is done, and it's slated for April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
And
deal.
again, it's still historical.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not real or proven to be real, but it's real people who claimed to see Bigfoot in New Mexico or Chupacabra in New Mexico and so on.
Sure. There's generations. The Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There's still, I remember as a kid, like that one footage of Bigfoot. There's like a video
Patterson Gimlin.
Yeah,
footage,
that one is. I remember when it in the 70s when that thing was in, I think actually in the 60s when that thing came out.
67.
Yeah, and so to me and even to this day that's still like, I think that's like the one piece of footage that no one's been able to disprove or basically shoot down. Everything else is men in monkey suits walking around. But and so me, that's same with Loch Ness. I'm like, even if they I don't think there's a big lizard dragon thing in Loch Ness. I know. Was there one time some dinosaur maybe 100 years ago? Sure, why not? But I don't think it's there now. But I would not be surprised that some mongoloid dinosaur hybrid thing was living in that water, and a bunch of people in the 1800s saw this thing and said, Lord knows what that unique.
You can't prove that it wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because it's not there today.
And to be honest, every rendition I've seen of it looks like some kind of dinosaur to me. It looks like some kind of dinosaur out of its time kind of thing. So do I believe that that's possible? Yeah, I do. Good deal. What else? Is there anything else we want to make sure we cover?
No, I don't want to. I enjoy talking to you, but I don't want to go over time.
Yeah, well, I gotta get some more ads and stuff in here. But absolutely, please check out these books. Again, go to Amazon and you can type in John LeMay books, and you'll see all of them there. RoswellNMHistory.org is a great place to look for not only John's books, but Donna Blake Burchell, Elvis Fleming, some of the other names you had mentioned earlier. I believe we still have copies of those available for there. Yeah. Don't forget, if you botched Christmas, we have our Peter Hurd prints. If you want to make good on your Christmas present you botched, you can get them something nice. You can get, if one of John's books doesn't suit you.
Yeah, again, rural Roswell, we have it in stock at the museum.
Okay.
It's there. So if you want one, come get one.
And like I said, that's got a lot of great pictures of what Roswell looked like during these times and seeing.
Yeah.
And
old flood pictures too.
Yeah.
We decided to put a lot of those in there.
Yeah, I love looking at, old Roswell because, you look at Roswell here. Even... to me, like I look at even pictures of the 50s and 40s of Roswell, and it looks night and day different than it does. You can kind of start to see a semblance of today on some of those pictures with some of the way the streets laid out. But even the buildings are mostly different and all that. But some of those turn of the century and the flood pictures, it looks more like a horse town than anything that Roswell looks like now today.
Well, because people enjoy, we saw so many pictures of the cars in the water. You'll see pictures of horses and carriages, halfway into the water.
And plus, it was all dirt and mud. It wasn't pavement back then. So, that was just a quagmire. The places that weren't, standing water was a quagmire of mud and everything else, too. So, good deal. But RoswellNMHistory.org or, like I said, John LeMay, Amazon, do your Google cook. Yeah, there's some pictures there. Don't show them all. We gotta get the book. And of course, if you do purchase through the Historical Society, not only do you help John out, but you do help the Historical Society doing that too. So that's if you want to kind of double help out, go through there. But if you're looking for the latest Billy the Kid book, that's probably an Amazon search for there.
Yeah,
give us a month or so.
Yeah, probably on Amazon.
But about a month or so, you'll see them on the shelves here at the Historical Society. Yeah. Good deal. Well, I guess we got it all.
And, thank you, Mike.
Anything else we can got coming up or on the horizon, don't hesitate to reach out and we'll get her done. All right. Thank you, John. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
All right. It is 9:53. Let us pause for news, Hannity update, your Chaves County sports, and a quick break before they kick me off the radio. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Some major New York City hospitals are dealing with a nurses' strike. More than 10,000 nurses walked off the job this morning. New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency in response. As the death toll from anti-government protests in Iran spirals beyond several hundred, President Trump says Tehran, facing the threat of American intervention to stop the bloodshed, is reaching out to the U.S. about proposed negotiations. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the Department of Justice has served the central bank with subpoenas and threatens it with a criminal indictment over his Senate testimony delivered 7 months ago regarding the Fed's building renovations. On Wall Street, stocks have turned mixed. The Dow is down 87 points, while the Nasdaq is up 48 points, and the S&P better by 3. More details, srnnews.com.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Democrats, they have fanned the flames of ICE hatred. They have put everybody at risk. And I've been warning, this violent rhetoric is going to lead to one tragedy after another. This is not the end of it, because they won't stop. Newsom lashing out at Donald Trump, over all of this. Newsom, sanctuary state, Gavin, who thinks he's going to be president. Okay, we're going to do everything we can to prevent that. By the way, Iran is on the brink of collapsing as well. The Iranian mullahs have had to pull the plug on internet service because they don't want the world to see what's going on. And, of course, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, rumors that he may be bowing out any moment now and getting the hell out.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
Listen, if you're still suffering from the Biden-Harris economic hangover and you need to save money, one way you can do it without sacrificing service, you can do it right now, and that is cutting your cell phone bill in half. Make the switch to my cell phone provider, a veteran-owned company, Pure Talk, for just $20 a month. They will give you unlimited talk and text, 3 gigs of high-speed data on Pure Talk, super fast, nationwide 5G network, the same exact service, and you save a fortune. The average family saves over $1,000 a year. A veteran-led company that shares your values. They believe in giving back to those that serve our great country. And by the way, if you're active military, former military, first responder, you get an additional 20% off every single month. Make the switch. It's simple, fast, easy. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword SAVE NOW from our friends at Pure Talk. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. Let's catch you up on some boys hoops. Over this past weekend, the Goddard Rockets were at the North-South Shootout, boys basketball in Belen, and Goddard started off with a 1-point loss to Taos on Thursday. We told you about that. Taos is now 11-3, by the way, so that's not a bad loss. But then Goddard fell back to Valencia, 39-29 on Friday. Kind of a roller coaster ride because the Rockets come out with a victory on Saturday, defeating the host team, the Belen Eagles, 52-49. Goddard is 6-8, Belen 9-7. So Goddard will play at Roswell tomorrow night at 7:00. Roswell over the weekend lost at Mayfield 68-63, and then fell in Las Cruces to Centennial 70-66. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Strong high pressure system covering all of the southwestern states. We're hitting the mid-50s on the afternoon high today. Lots of sunshine. Pretty cold overnight. We'll drop into the low 20s with a few clouds, and then we warm up a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're expecting sunshine both days, highs in the low 60s. We're in the upper 60s and sunny on Thursday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925. We have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency.
Start the year strong with a home that's comfortable, efficient, and easy on your energy bills. The Right Fit membership program. For as little as $15 per month or $199 a year, you can rest assured knowing your unit is ready with biannual HVAC maintenance, as well as reduced dispatch fees, even in the middle of the night. Plus, a 15% discount on all services provided by Fulkerson, as well as preferred scheduling. Be ready for the seasons ahead. Become a Right Fit member with Fulkerson today. Call 575-319-9984 to find out more. Fulkerson Plumbing and Heating. Proudly serving Roswell and surrounding areas.
At Martine's Capital Cafe, come in and enjoy a delicious variety for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Try our burritos, huevos rancheros, asado, chorizo, sausage, flautas, fajitas, chili rellenos, quesadillas, enchiladas, sopapillas, and don't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger and so much more. Everything is prepared with the finest and freshest ingredients. Martine's Capital Cafe. Quality, value, tradition, and the most delicious New Mexican food since 1989. Open Monday through